Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another big rugby competition. Now, this is the biggest rugby game, I guess you could say, since the Rugby World Cup. France versus Ireland, two sides that were knocked out in the quarterfinals, but for these two sides, this is their biggest game of the Six Nations. This could be the decider for the competition. I am extremely excited for this match. Going to be played in Marseille, which does give France the home advantage, which is different from what we saw last year in the Six Nations 2023 competition, where it was the Irish who did have home field advantage. But looking through at the starting lineup, first of all for France, Sirubai, Pito Malvaka and Yui Antonio will be the front row. Now, Malvaka had a tremendous Rugby World Cup competition, powering his way through opposition. He's going head-to-head with Dan Sheehan. For this match, it is going to be Gabrielages at number 4 and Paul Valimza as the number 5. Of course, Gabrielages, a new name in this French lineup. Francois Creux at number 6, Charles Olivon as 7, and Gregory Aldred to close out the 4-back. He is slotting in as the number 8, Maxime Luku at 9. No Antoine Dupont, seeing as he did choose the Six Nations. He didn't choose the Six Nations, instead choosing the Sevens. He will get his first opportunity in Vancouver in about a month's time or so. Mathieu Jalibert at 10. No Roman Intermac, but Jalibert throughout the World Cup was the choice that the French were going with. Jonathan Dante, absolute workhorse and a beast when it comes to getting that ball in the breakdown. Galfiku, number 13. Mo Fana out on the left wing. Damien Pinot out on the right, who was the leading try scorer in the 2023 Six Nations competition. And Thomas Ramos at number 15 to close out what is a very strong first lineup for the French. In the chat, we have got quite a few people already, which is absolutely awesome to see. We've got William, we've got Mumbo Jumbo, also Mr. Fantastic, Gus, Sonny, and Jimbo all here already for this Six Nations fixture for the Irish, the away side. Andrew Porter, Dan Sheehan, Tyke Furlong, a very strong way to start this Irish lineup today. Joe McCarthy at 4, given yet again another opportunity. Now, I thought he did pretty well throughout the Rugby World Cup. Did get limited opportunities, but when he was used, did seem like he was a real talent indeed. Tyke Byrne at number 5. Peter O'Mahony, the captain, at number 6, with Josh Van den Flair and Caelan Doris, one of the best loose forward, if not the best loose forward trios in World Rugby today. Jamison Gibson Park at 9, with Jack Crowley at number 10. There is the gap to fill with no Johnny Sexton. And Crowley, he may have to be the guy to take the reins. If he's not able to, yes, the Irish have other fly half options that they may look to use in the future. But for now, Crowley is the guy that could do very well for Ireland. Here, Bundyaki at 12, one of the standouts of the Rugby World Cup campaign, and also that massive Irish winning streak. Of course, he was evident in that inside centre role. Robbie Henshaw on his outside at number 13, that is rather than Gary Ringrose. James Lowe out on the left wing. Calvin Nash gets the opportunity out on the right. Sensational player throughout the URC. Let's see what he can do at international level. And Hugo Keenan at number 15 to close out this Irish starting lineup. Looking through at the chat we have got, just watching rugby will be amazing. Says Mr. Fantastic AJ, and I fear for our scrum, says Jimbo. Well, that's the thing, these two front rows, of course, you got Sirubai, Pieto Malvaka and Yui Antonio on one side. Ireland, you've got Dan Sheehan in the middle, and I feel like lineouts are such a hard one to predict for this game, mainly because, like, Dan Sheehan, one of the best hookers in the world, but Pieto Malvaka, when it comes to power and punch for punch, he's definitely right up there in the world of rugby. On the two sides, Tyke Furlong alongside, it will be Andrew Porter. This is just going to be a very hard-hitting affair up front for the two sides. Our World Cup first game, had a phone call that my dad had cancer. He lost his battle just after New Year. Really didn't think rugby would kill me like this, says Mr. Fantastic AJ. So I do apologise for your loss, mate. If you are doing all right, this will almost be, like you said, the first international game that we have had of rugby in actually quite some time. I'm trying to think if we've had any other warm-up games, but mainly it's been URC, Champions Cup, Challenge Cup, and also a bit of the Sevens along the way. Watching from Snow Blizzard Norway. Says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi, and scrums will be tough for both. France might prevail, but the second half, says Gus in there as well. And I should mention about for the second half, these two sides have very strong benches. We are going to see for the French, it is a Marchand in the front row, so not exactly a bad replacement to have for Pieter Malvaka, Reda Wardi, and also Aldehegri, and number 18, Taufifanoa and Cameron Woki alongside Bodian. So actually going with the 6-2 split, which is what both of these sides have done here. They've got Learic at number 22, and then Louis Belparis at 23. I actually expected to see him in the starting lineup, to be honest, but I can understand why they've gone with Mofana, just to match up quite nicely with Calvin Nash. Belparis, definitely a good sub option for the French. In this match, Ronan Keller, Cian Healy, and Finlay Bilham will be there as the front row replacements for the Irish. James Ryan and Ryan Beard, alongside Jack Conan as the loose forward trio, and locking replacements, then Connor Murray and Kieran Frawley at number 23. But it does just feel weird looking at an Irish lineup without Johnny Sexton. It looks weird looking at a French lineup without Antoine Dupont. The good news for France, though, is they did experience a little bit of that throughout the Rugby World Cup. We've got to remember Antoine Dupont's face got broken into. It was almost like... Never mind. I was going to say something along the lines of it was pretty much like one of those ram raids that you see every once in a while, how they pretty much broke through the gate. But luckily, his face has recovered. Antoine Dupont, he is playing rugby, just not union. He's going to be playing in the 7 side of things for the French. Same with Michael Hooper for the Australians. He is actually going to be taking part in the upcoming Vancouver Sevens, heading towards the Olympics. Now, that has been praised and that has been ridiculed by French supporters, mainly because, I mean, it's all well and good if they win the Olympic gold medal, but if they lose the Six Nations and people feel it's because Antoine Dupont is not there, I don't think they're going to want him back in too quickly. Greetings, Ruth, and evening, Hamish from Cape Town, and hello to all those rugby rockers around the world. Says Ruth, and Malvaka is a unique offensive threat, as a hooker says Gus. I think you've put it pretty well there, because he does offer so much on attack, and he's extremely hard to predict. All he takes is maybe 2 steps, and then he's full acceleration and just full steam ahead, looking dangerous when he does so. So I think that he will definitely be a real threat in this game up against the Irish, although the Irish defence, one that is definitely one of the strongest in world rugby today, just looking through at some of their results. Of course, we're going to have to mention it at some stage. I'm not going to mention it first, though. We're going to look through the Rugby World Cup group campaign in Pool B, because it was absolutely phenomenal for the Irish, getting themselves the win over Romania in their opening contest, 82 points to 8. Next game up against the Tongans, they were able to break down that Tongan defence extremely well, 59 points to 16. This game here beating the eventual champions of the Rugby World Cup, the only side to do so throughout that 2023 Rugby World Cup. Was that the fire that the Box needed to go all the way? But it was a brilliant performance from the Irish either way, that is for sure. 13 points to 8, a close game for the men in green, and then they had their game up against Scotland, which we will get to see later on in this Six Nations competition, and the Irish in that contest managed to win it 36 points to 14. Now this game up against New Zealand in the quarterfinals, you won't hear too many Kiwis saying this, but I'm going to say it. It could have gone easily either way. Neither side had that game secured. New Zealand, they probably got pretty lucky to win it in the final moments of the contest, because the Irish were all over them throughout a majority of that second half. But you take the wins that you can. 24 points for the Irish on the board, and that was actually the most tries that they had conceded throughout the Rugby World Cup, with the 4. But most times, they were able to score more than 4 tries themselves. So I feel like this one up against the French, it's going to be about getting a good start on the board and then trying to really take it to the opposition in France. Here for France, throughout their Rugby World Cup campaign, they beat New Zealand in the opening contest, 27 points to 13. They struggled with Uruguay, and it wasn't even that much of a changed lineup, I didn't feel, for the French. Yes, they had a few of their key players missing, but it's still a game that they should have maybe walked away with a bit more of a victory. 27 points to 12, 96-0 up against Namibia. They went pretty good in that game overall. 60 points to 7 over the Italians, which of course we will get to see later on in the Six Nations competition. And then their game in the quarterfinals up against the Springboks, they did get defeated 28 points to 28 points to 29. Once again, that was their only game that they conceded a few tries in the Six Nations. Up until that point, I believe the most they had conceded was 2, and it might have actually only been the 1 actually per game. So it just shows that both of these sides, when their defense is firing and they're not breaking down, there's going to be a lot on offer in this game. I feel like we're going to see a more defensive-driven game rather than attacking, although this Irish backline, they love attacking, so it's going to be a very hard one to predict. That is for sure. Ireland by 10, easy win, cough, cough. Says Dennison will miss Johnny, with James Ryan off form is a disaster. No natural outside centre will be punished by Fiku, says Jimbo. And also, Hamish, do you think the French can be tough enough tonight? Well, I actually predicted Ireland to win the Six Nations. So for that to happen, I need them to get the away win here up against France. I believe on the podcast, I predicted 25 points to 22 in favour of the Irish. So let's see whether or not we get anywhere close for that one. Good morning from Not So Soggy Brisbane. A few new faces in the Irish team, says Fluffy. And it was a great accomplishment, Hamish, don't be shy, says Gus. And also we have got there, I'm watching the game at my grandma's place, going to be tops. And not much separates the top 4, but the box bluffed it indeed, says Mumbo Jumbo Key. Well, I think the perfect way to describe the Springboks throughout that Rugby World Cup is they did enough to be able to win. You look at some of their main results, you know, the quarterfinal, semi-final, and the final, they didn't use up extra energy. It was, we will get the win, we will take a side right down to the wire, and we will win it. And, I mean, that's the Bok mentality of whatever happens, you have to win. And, I mean, that game up against the Irish, that was the only game that they weren't able to win throughout the Rugby World Cup. We actually get to see those two sides play later on in the year, and I feel like it's going to be a very hard one to predict who takes out those performances. But, yeah, I feel like Ireland, they took a lot from this World Cup. I know that, unfortunately, they did get knocked out in the quarterfinals again, and I'm sure that that is not what Irish supporters want to hear. They want to see the new leaf and the new, I guess, leaf being turned for this Irish side. It's a new generation now as well. The fact that there is no Johnny Sexton, that is the end of an era for Irish rugby. Now it's about building up this next talented group of players, the young men who are coming up through the rankings, so that when the next World Cup comes around in Australia, they can be top contenders once more and they can try and cash in on a World Cup. The French will be the same. They'll be disappointed. It was a home Rugby World Cup and they only got to play 5 games throughout that tournament rather than 7. So they will be definitely looking for bouncing back here. And South Africa, or tour of South Africa, is exactly what Ireland need. Might toughen us up, says Jimbo. And I've at least got the weekend off tomorrow. Yay, says Roof, and Scotland will win the Six Nations. Team looks unstoppable and have unmatched chemistry, says Josh Pennington. I agree with you in some regards there. Scotland do look very strong. I don't know if the Six Nations this year will be going their way, but I honestly feel like they will actually be a little bit higher up in the rankings than some anticipate because, like you said, they've built a very good foundation. They lost a couple players along the way, such as a Stuart Hogg and no Darcy Graham due to injury. But alongside that, they've still got those same players that they built up in the World Cup. Like, they were in a tough group, Scotland. I think a lot of people would admit that, alongside Ireland as well as South Africa. Like, good luck. You're not getting out of that group because all it takes is one loss and then all of a sudden you're chasing it. But this is actually what the rankings were for last year's Six Nations. Ireland getting themselves the 27 points. They did the Grand Slam. That was a part of what was a record-breaking Irish winning streak. It was sensational to see. And that was actually 5 from 5. France sitting 4 with the 1 loss. That was the game up against Ireland. I feel like there's so much history now starting to form between these two sides. It never used to be as much of a rivalry, I don't think. But since both of these sides have been doing Grand Slams when they're at home, it kind of adds a lot more to the overall atmosphere of this competition. Ireland first, France second, and then Scotland finishing third in last year's Six Nations. A lot of people thought it was England, but believe it or not, Scotland, they did extremely well. 3 wins, 2 losses. They only lost to these two sides. England actually had a loss to the Scottish as well, and then Wales, and then the Italians down the bottom. But I'll be hoping to improve on the 1 point. I feel like something that we learned throughout the Rugby World Cup about Italy is if you give them half a sniff and you give them a chance in a match, they'll keep it close. Six Nations says otherwise, but we'll see. We'll see. It could be very close, hopefully. But looking through at future fixtures, in fact, we will look at the chat first because I see there are 10 messages there. And folks, don't forget to like this stream. Says Gus. Yeah, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. If you are new, they should put that Scottish monkey in at hooker. Says Fluffy, and greetings, Hamish in chat. Great to catch you live, hoping for back-to-back Grand Slams for Ireland. Says Mountains of Asylum. Oh, this is a trivia question for you Six Nations statistic masters. When was the last time a side won 2 Six Nations titles in a row from Grand Slamming both of them? Because I honestly can't remember. I feel like there was a team a few years ago. When was the last double Grand Slam, Six Nations? Does anyone know? Do let me know. Canadian here, new to rugby, really fell in love with it watching the World Cup last year. I have no idea what the Six Nations is until about a week ago. Very excited to watch this afternoon, says Adam. And so it is very greatly appreciated. You're coming in to this live stream. We've got a lot of people who love rugby here. So if you have any questions or any concerns, I guess perfect people to ask are the ones in the chat or myself. We have got Hamish is looking awesome again. Hit the likes button, please. Kiwi lads rock this world, says Ruth. In 2022, I was the other way around, says Jimbo. And what's your take on the other games on Saturday, says Dennis. So, of course, we have got the match between Italy and England. I feel like that should be an English win, but you never know. They've got a lot of changes, and maybe Italy will be able to make it a lot closer than some are anticipating. Wales versus Scotland, for me, aside from this game, is going to be an absolutely awesome one that could go right down to the wire. Now, it's going to be extremely hard to work out who's going to win that because Wales have got an illustrious history of beating Scotland when they are at the Principality. But the Scottish side look pretty good at the moment, so it could be a whole different story. Are you covering Munster versus Crusaders tomorrow? There's a second string Munster, but still hoping for a win, says Mountains of Asylum. I think that, I talked about it on the podcast as well, they've done really badly with the promotion of that game. The reason I say that is it's a huge match and it's a massive step forward if we're ever going to get a Club Rugby World Cup. But they've made it on at the exact same time as the Six Nations game between Wales and Scotland. They have also decided to make it at the same time as the Six Nations, which means Munster aren't full strength. Crusaders travelling to Ireland, so they won't be full strength. Plus, they'll probably be a little bit fatigued. So it had all the makings of a brilliant game to promote club rugby. But what they've ended up doing is make it a game that seems like it's been put on the back foot and just as being played for the sake of being played rather than to try and promote club rugby and cross competition, if you'd like to call it that. It is sunny, or is it sunny, says Cool Story Bro. Is that here or at the game? Cool Story Bro, do let me know. No, cloudy but warm, says says Gus. And also we have got Italy versus England will be a good game if they put England under pressure. And in the first half, the result will be close, says Josh. Yeah, it's about Italy really contesting early and trying to keep themselves in the contest. I mentioned about it for that Rugby World Cup as well. As long as they're able to make England think for half a second that maybe they aren't walking away with an easy victory, that's all it takes for the Italian passion to kick in, because we know the Italians, out of the Six Nations teams, it sounds crazy to say, but they're probably one of the more passionate teams in this competition. And that's not to say that these other sides aren't passionate. It's just, have you ever seen a fired up Italian? They go for it. So if they can keep themselves in the game and think that they're going to win, that's when Italy normally play at that next level. We've seen that from some of the lower teams. Portugal, throughout the Rugby World Cup, that's a perfect example of a side that if they were almost in a game, they just look like a whole different side than the one that walked out in the starting moments of the contest. How massive is it that Dupont chose not to play? Our fans beside themselves in France right now, they are pretty angry. Antoine Dupont, he has decided to chase the Olympic gold medal in the sevens. To his credit, he made it clear from the get-go that he was going to be doing that. It's just people didn't want to accept it. And now that it's happened, people still aren't happy, mainly because they haven't seen him on the Seventh Circuit yet either. And the first leg that he is going to be taking part in, I believe, is late February. So people were like, why couldn't he play 2 or 3 games of the Six Nations? Why couldn't he be there playing up against the Irish here rather than going over to the Sevens early on? So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it impacts the French. I still think they've got more than capable scrum halves under their belt, such as Maxime Lucu. I thought he did very well throughout the Rugby World Cup when called upon after Dupont's injury, which a lot of people forget about. France did pretty well throughout their Rugby World Cup. Dupont did play in the game that they lost, and that's something that some people forget. People remember that Antoine Dupont injury throughout the Rugby World Cup, but Dupont did play up against the Springboks. Is it going to be a running rugby or kicking game tonight? I think it's going to be a mixture. I think that both of these sides do know how to bring a lot of attack to a game, but they also know how to defend, and they know how to play the territory games well. Our Ramos will be man of the match, Roof, or Ireland will win, says Jimbo. But we're in Marseille. We've just got the intro here. I think you guys just saw my face go from kind of slightly smiling to a massive smile there, hearing the Irish commentator. I know it sounds weird to say, but this is the first time I've heard this man's voice in quite some time. And as soon as he talks, it just reminds you of the Six Nations last year. And of course, the Six Nations this year is now only 8 minutes away from starting up. This is my son's first Six Nations, but he has a lightweight 1 bottle and he just dropped off to sleep, says Mountains of Asylum. And I was okay, going to put the game on. Cheers, brother, says Adam. Enjoy. Hopefully it is a good fixture, and maybe we will see at halftime or after the game if you want a bit of a chat about what has just occurred. But the future games for these two sides, before we get too close to the end of this contest, fun fact, 64% have said that France will win this game. 35% have said that it will be an Irish win. I am one of those 35%. I'm back in Ireland to win this Six Nations competition. They've got a very good player base at the moment. We see Bundy Aki in the background in the changing sheds. It always feels a bit weird having cameras in the changing sheds, to be honest. Luckily, most players are dressed at this point. There's a man in a towel for France in the background. They better hope he doesn't get changed on camera. But the upcoming games for the French in the Six Nations competition, they have got Scotland next week on the Sunday morning, New Zealand time, 3:15. Now, the best way of converting that, if you are in the Northern Hemisphere, is to pretty much say it's 2:15 p.m. So you just go back 11 hours, and that is where you'll find the time. So the next game up against the Italians, of course, we have got that break in the Six Nations, the 1 week off. And then also, there is actually a little bit of a gap in between those two games too. And you've got England as the last game for the French throughout this rugby. I almost said World Cup, but the Six Nations competition. Playing New Zealand on the 17th of November. That is one to keep an eye out for. Ireland playing New Zealand on the 10th of November. Another one to watch out for. But Italy next week. Then 2 weeks' time it will be, or 3 weeks' time, up against the Welsh. Then they've got England and then Scotland. So 2 tough games to close out their Six Nations campaign here. But you've got to say, out of all the sides, Ireland, I think, have the toughest draw, because they have to play England as well as France away from home. But that is why I feel if they are able to get through those challenges, they will go on and they will win the Six Nations competition. As it says, Justin, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. And also we have got there almost always sunny in Durban, says cool story, bro. And come on Ireland, says Brandon. And Dupont is doing the right thing, playing sevens for his own mental health, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. Well, that's the thing. We've seen players do it before. They convert over to sevens. They try and take out a gold medal at the Rugby World Cup. We saw Caleb Clark do the exact same thing. Now, he actually struggled a lot to be able to get back into the All Blacks after converting to sevens. I don't think Dupont will have that same trouble, unless, of course, there's a little bit of bad blood there for him ditching Union for the Rugby Sevens side of things. But if there's no bad blood, I think they'll almost just walk back into that side. And now both sides making their way out onto the field through the tunnel at Marseille. Now, this is the first time both teams have played in France internationally since those Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. I know it sounds bad to say, but both of these sides at the moment are sitting on a one-match losing streak. Someone's going to change that tonight, and someone's going to get their Six Nations off to a flyer. Who bounces back better and who starts their redemption story with a Six Nations title on the line here? I'm going to my mate's birthday party. Says, Ollie, and Happy New Year, mate. ATB from Cyprus. says ATB. So yeah, Happy New Year to you too. Of course, like I said, first international game of rugby that we have covered on the channel since the end of the Rugby World Cup. Now, since then, we have not taken days off, I should mention. We have been covering the URC, the Champions Cup. We have done the Sevens, we've done cricket, we've done a whole heap of random bits and bobs along the way. And now we're back to international rugby, back to the Six Nations, the two sides lining up out there on the field. France on the right, Ireland on the left. We're about to have the national anthems, which of course we will also hear for the first time since the Rugby World Cup. And then we are underway. I would have loved to see this game in the Rugby World Cup, says Josh. And it was a possibility. If both sides had gone that little bit further, we could have seen them either playing off. Well, it actually would have had to be the final, wouldn't it? We have got there, it can't be a streak if it's only one game, Hamish, says Grant. I consider one match a one-match losing streak or one-match winning streak. I like it. I like the idea of a streak. I feel like, well, that sounds dodgy. Of course, don't streak at games, ladies and gentlemen. But the redemption arc for these two sides going to be starting up. Got now the Irish national anthem. Once again, we will look through at the starting lineups for these two sides. The away side, Andrew Porter, Dan Sheehan and Tyke Furlong will be in the front row. Joe McCarthy and Tyke Byrne as the two locks for this contest. Peter O'Mahony, Josh Bannon-Flara and Caelan Doris will be there as the number 8. Now, that is somewhere that Ireland, I think, do have a bit of an advantage in this contest with that loose forward trio, extremely strong, leading from the front. Jamison Gibson Park, Jack Crowley as the 9-10 combination. No Johnny Sexton, which does open up the door for a new opportunity at fly half for a young Irish 10. Bundy Ake and Robbie Henshaw will be the midfield combination. Of course, they would have loved to have Ringrose at 13, but Henshaw does get the nod for this contest. James Lowe, Calvin Nash on debut out on the right wing, and then it will be Hugo Keenan at number 15 for the Irish. Then for the French, the home side, settled by Pito Malwaka and Louis Antonio as their front row. Gabriel Eggs, I said it better when I said it the first time, but he is at 4. Paul Willems are at 5. Francois Creux, Charles Olivon, and also Gregory Eldred as the number 8. Maxime Luku stepping up for Dupont. Jalabert at 10 rather than Intermac. So France theoretically probably would say they haven't got their starting 9-10 combo that they would like to have, but it was unavailable, so they have got this one here. Jonathan Dante in the midfield. He is going to be a game changer for France. I'm calling it already. He's either going to get a red card or he's going to get a lot of turnovers in the breakdown, put in some big hits, and perhaps even score a try of his own. Galfiku there at number 13. Then Damien Pinot, Mofana, and Thomas Ramos will be the back 3. And we have got hello old friend, says Mystic Novel Bro. Welcome in. I forgot to ask who won the cricket. Australia won by 8 wickets. They did it very comfortably in that matchup. Okay, New Zealand sounds not too bad of a place then, says Cool Story Bro. And also good evening, morning everyone, says Flesh and welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. They have turned off the music and the French national anthem is ringing around the Marseille stadium currently. This is an atmosphere and a half. And the Six Nations now, ladies and gents. The national anthems have been sung. The pre-match build-up has been done. And these two sides are about to take to the field for the first time in 2024. Do let me know your score predictions, though, in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. We have not seen any score predictions yet, other than someone very early on saying they thought that the French would win, I believe it was. Or maybe Ireland sneaking it. But for myself, I'm going 25 points to 22 in favour of the Irish. I am willing to say it out loud because normally my predictions are that bad that it doesn't matter what I say because it just doesn't happen in a game of rugby. High Fleshin, says Gus there. They're just showing the starting lineup of the Irish. Peter O'Mahony with the captaincy in this contest. Big opportunity for him. I have to say he's a workhorse and he'll just go out there and he'll put his body on the line for the men in green. Crowley at 10. They've just said about Ronan O'Gara, all the ex-great 10s that Ireland have had. Way to put pressure on the youngster. And hey, Hamish, when was the last time you watched a rugby match without commentating? I don't know, to be honest. I watched a Sevens match without commentating, but that's rugby union. I can't think of the last game. That's really bad, isn't it? It's as if I have to commentate while doing a game now. I honestly can't remember. Definitely international rugby. I don't think I've covered or not covered any international games that have been available to watch. But this one, I'm looking forward to commentating it, of course, seeing as these two sides are well and truly ready to go for the start of their Six Nations campaign. It will be Jack Crowley and the Irish to kick off from left to right. Carl Dixon in charge of this one. And we are ready, ladies and gentlemen. The 2024 Six Nations competition is now underway, kicked off by Crowley, and Marseille is packed for this contest. Just taking his time, actually, Crowley. He didn't kick it off. Now he's kicked it off. We're ready to go for the Six Nations. Nicely taken by Charles Olivon inside of the French 22. Now, we may see a more kicking-orientated performance from both of these sides early. Try and get that territory game going. The French currently in possession. One more big phase coming in from Yui Antonio, and the ball is rolled back for Maxime Luku. Will now look to clear his lines from inside of his own 22. It always can rely on this fella showing up. So here's Caleb plays roadblock. It has got into touch. James Lowe decides against the quick line out. And now the first set piece of the day will be going the way of the Irish. But 45 seconds in, we have already seen a line out. That is somewhere that is extremely hard to predict how this match is going to go. Dan Sheehan on one side for the Irish, an absolute tank, try-scoring machine. You'd think I was describing Pieto Malvaca, though, with those exact same descriptions. Nicely claimed, though, from Tyke Byrne. Jameson Gibson Park across to Bundy Arkey. Now Robbie Henshaw in the midfield, taken down well by Jonathan Dante and Galfiku. Back across to the left, McCarthy. A youngster who got limited opportunities in the Rugby World Cup but wants to prove himself at international level. Crowley tries to kick him behind. It's charged down by the French, and they are now in possession again, the home side. Maxime Luku. He was in the pocket. He went further back into the pocket to Thomas Ramos. James Lowe taking it just outside of the 22 with the big up and under for the Irish. Uncontested. Luku claims now Ramos. Going across here to Jalabert. The quick step and fly half of France. Gets it away now to Francois Cruz. And they're up to 40 metres out from the line here for Les Bleus. Jalabert, one more on the outside to Fiku. Goes out wide to Damien Pinot, who's just touched the try line, or touched the touch line with his foot there. First game I've watched since the Rugby World Cup final, says Tony there. And anyone who hasn't already, be sure to check out the Rugby Recap. We did actually do a podcast with Tony. If you like swearing and also rugby knowledge, perfect episode to watch. And it is a good game so far, says Connor. Yeah, fast-paced. Damien Pinot, great tackle made by Hugo Keenan, who really muscled up to Pinot out on the wing. But now line-out throw for the Irish inside of their own 22. Dan Sheehan. Throwing this one over the top, nicely taken by Tyke Byrne. Now Gibson Park. Goes across to Caelan Doris for his first touch of the 2024 Six Nations. He's actually a player who I feel could get player of the tournament if given enough opportunities. Kick deep from low, but France were back ready for it. Ramos returns with a big up and under row of his own. James Lowe takes it nicely down the wing. It's it on the inside away to Andrew Porter, who's driven backwards by Charles Olivon. Now, nice short pass from Doris to Van den Flair. The Irish loose forward trio linking up together. The benefit that they have got is those two play for Leinster time and time again. Ireland 48%, France 48% and 4% for the draw, says JP there. Up and under, nicely taken underneath it for Thomas Ramos. At the moment we have seen a bit more of that territory game being played between these two sides. Short ball to Francois Cruz. In fact, this time it's Gregory Eldred with the carry for France. Now Luku back across to the right, settled by him by Jalabert, stolen by James Lowe. He might have been contacted a little bit high there from Olivon. Knock on from Malvaca, which now causes McCarthy and the Irish to have the knock-on advantage. Back across to the right, Crowley, short ball to Josh Van den Flair. Hit well by Cruz. Gibson Park, back to Crowley. Tyg Byrne smashed in the tackle by Paul Valimza. Back at 5. And the penalty does go back. Yep, it's an original offside penalty against the French, and it's actually against Pieto Malvaka. Yeah, I thought it was a knock-on from him, but it is actually upgraded as that offside. Now it does mean that there is the opportunity for Ireland to take the early 3 points if they want it. They're just showing here the team experience. Starting XV caps, 306 for the Irish compared to the 150 or so for the French. So it's crazy to think that a couple of the individual players for Ireland are really boosting that, whether that's Peter O'Mahony, whether it's going to be a couple of these guys in the front row like Tyg Furlong. Just really boost those numbers drastically for the Irish experience. It was well stolen by James Lowe. Something that I've noticed already is France are trying to send one man forward and then put those passes in behind that individual, trying to maybe create a bit of deception in the way that they are attacking. Now 10 metres out from the line. Should mention the Irish did not take on the 3 points. They are going for the corner, chasing bonus points and chasing a grand slam here for the men in green. 10 metres out from the line. The rolling ball is looking stronger, though it has now collapsed. Out the back, though, Dan Sheehan trying to run through. Olivon is there to stop him in his tracks. Big shot on Gibson Park by Malvaka, but he got the pass away to Bundyaki beforehand. Now Gibson Park back across to the right-hand side. Tyg Byrne. Great contest from Jonathan Dante, but doesn't get the ball. McCarthy, good flat run from the young number 4. Van der Flair taken down low, and it's going to be another offside advantage against the French, who are just rushing up that little bit too quickly in the early stages. Wide cut-out pass, stolen by Luku. And they'll go back now for another penalty. Now, this one is an easy 3 if they want it. Look at there, Judith and Sonny. Great to see you, Hamish. I just had a spinal fusion through the back and stomach. Look after your bodies, says the old times. Says Sonny and Judith in there as well. Geez, that sounds painful through the stomach and the back. In that regard, so hopefully you do recover quite nicely. Put another raw sheep on the barbie, Ken. Says, Fluffy, that's a big barbecue. I don't think I could fit a sheep on mine. I think I could fit a couple chops. Maybe a steak or two, but not sure about a whole sheep. Now Jack Crowley line up this kick only about 10 metres out in front of the post. Should be a straightforward kick to start the Irish Six Nations off with 3 points. There we go. Crowley's first starting points for the Irish gets it over, and that now makes the score 3-0 in favour of Ireland here in the first Six Nations contest. Now, that is all well and good, but I know that Ireland deep down want tries. We saw that when they decided to kick it towards the corner. We don't eat sheep, only the lambs. Here's Mr. Fantastic AJ. And let's go, boys. French flare up and away. It'll be kicked off now by France. Claimed by Robbie Henshaw just outside, although the referee says inside of his 22. Andrew Porter still inside, so Gibson Park, if he wants to, can put this ball out on the full. Same with James Lowe. And he has decided to go down the middle of the field, though, which does give France the counter-attacking opportunity with Jalabert. Taken down well, gets back up to his feet, wasn't held, so can go again. Charles Olivon, good work in the breakdown from Peter O'Mahony, the Irish skipper, and he wins the penalty for Ireland. The Irish crowd is quiet. Says Gus, that is because 90%, I would say, are from France in attendance. When hearing the national anthem, it sounded like a lot of French supporters in attendance for this one. How's it, Hamish? Haven't seen you since the Rugby World Cup. Won that again. Says Chris, I am surprised that you have forgotten, Chris, but I assume it would be the heavy drinking after celebrating. Of course, the Box getting themselves back-to-back. Ireland trying to go back-to-back in the Six Nations here. Not looking too bad at the moment. They were able to do the Grand Slam, something the Box did not do at the Rugby World Cup. Who is refereeing the Munster match tomorrow? Says Connor. Not actually sure who's got the assignment of that one. And where's my lamb chop, my mint sauce? Or with mint sauce, says Ruth. Looks like Andrew Porter may have taken a bit of a head knock here. Only 8 minutes into the contest. And good to see the old gang are back for the Six Nations. Says Mystic Novel Bro. And we have got just a little bit of a stoppage. And probably not a bad thing for the players. It has been a fast-paced start to this fixture Ireland having a majority of the attack. Looks like Andrew Porter is actually going to make his way off the field for an HIA, which now means that it will be Cian Healy who makes his way onto the park after only the 8 minutes. Now, that would be a massive hit for the Irish if they were to lose Andrew Porter. And yeah, wouldn't miss Amish's commentary for anything. Oh, okay, and with HIA comes TMO. First time of the Six Nations, we're going to see the TMO involved. Hopefully it doesn't take forever. But they are going to be checking this one to see how it actually happened. See if there was some dirty play. First of all, first player to come to mind, Yui Antonio. Was he involved? Let's see. Oh no, it was actually Paul Valimza. Okay, I don't think that was too bad. Oh, that was. From that angle, that is the shoulder charge to the head of Andrew Porter. It's probably going to be a yellow card for Paul Valimza here. It meets the yellow card threshold. So it's going to be Paul Valimza making his way from the field now. Bunker review, that is going to be the first time, I think, in the Six Nations we're going to see that used. So now they have the next 8 minutes or so to make the decision of whether or not it's going to be upgraded to a red card. Meanwhile, Andrew Porter will not be on the field. Hey, my brother, hope you are well, says Johnny. I am indeed, mate. Hope you are doing very well, enjoying your 2024. England are the coolest with their World Cup medal. Says, cool story, bro. If anyone wants to watch Munster vs Crusaders tomorrow and you have a VPN, it's on TG4 in Ireland, but it's Irish language. Says Mountains of Asylum. And Red All Day, says Jimbo. Now going to be kicked into touch by the Irish 10, Crowley. It's going to take a bit of getting used to not saying Sexton as the Irish 10. But Paul Valimza may have just made a big mistake there early on in this fixture. If France are down one man, Ireland definitely will get the advantage. Good to see a change with HIA. Here's Mr. Fantastic AJ. Now Dan Sheehan about to throw this ball in now. Nicely claimed by Ty Byrne for the third time in this match already. Gibson Park back in behind. Nice wide pass from Robbie Henshaw. Gives the opportunity to Calvin Nash, who had limited space on the outside to work with. He's going to be driven into touch almost by Mofana. Just gets his knee down in time. Now back across the left-hand side. Bundy Arki is currently playing numberless. Don't know what happened to the 12 on his back. I think he got scared of Arki and ran away. But he's going out to the left-hand side, passing it off to Robbie Henshaw, his partner in crime in the midfield. Now back across to the right-hand side once more. Hugo Keane, another skip pass out to Calvin Nash. He's going to go for the chip and chase this time. There are French defenders back. Ramos cleans it up, gives it away to Mofana, who has rushed defence from Nash as well as Vanden Flair to put him under pressure. As the game actually started, it has. It's currently 10 minutes into the contest, and it's 3-0 in favour of the Irish. He's more than a number. So here's Fluffy, and also both teams look sharp, or less than sharp, understandably. So here's Gus. And as well as Paul Valimza, South African. He is indeed. So the only South African on the field getting the yellow card. So now he's the only South African who's not on the field as well. Thanks. So here's cool story, bro. Now 10 metres out from the 22. It will be another line-out throw for the Irish, who have just been all over France throughout the early stages. But France have weathered the storm just for now. They have conceded the 3 points. Possession 68% in favour of the away side, Ireland. They're really taking the crowd out of this match. And that is exactly what they need to try and do. Keep the momentum in their favour, because as soon as you give France half a sniff, that is normally when they start to attack and score a lot of points in a hurry. Now rolling more here for the Irish. Dan Sheehan hanging on to this one at the back. Back across to the left-hand side. Bundyaki almost going through. Tackled by Gregory Eldred, the La Rochelle representative. Good run from McCarthy. Gets through Luku. Now Jonathan Dundee saying that there was a player sealing off in the breakdown, which is why he wasn't able to get the turnover. No red cards in this one. Where's the referee? It is Carl Dixon. Kicked in behind. Too much on it from the Irish. And now again, it will be the opportunity for the French. They've got the option of either the line out, the scrum, or the 22 dropout. They've gone quickly. And that is a brilliant kick there from the French, getting it to go maybe about 60 metres downfield. just outside of the Irish 22. Yeah, the crowd, wait, how's that only gone out at the 10-metre line? Okay, the touch judge must not have been in position there because he has gone back a good maybe 5 or 6 metres from where it was. The TMO should be TMO'd and carded, says Marco, and by Elton Yankees, no more midnight snacks, says Ruth. Yeah, the man just can't avoid controversy. Unfortunately, Elton, but he will be avoiding it for a while now. He's banned for 4 years. And our counter-ruck there from the French. It's unsuccessful, although the penalty does go the way of France. I believe one of the players. Okay, they pulled the ball away in that breakdown, Ireland, so France penalty. I think that's almost the first penalty in favour of France throughout the Six Nations fixture so far. Elton Yankees fudged his hairstyle, fudged the nutritionist, and fudged his career. There's Marco. And also life with no parole for TMO. And TMO and OMT, what? Yeah, massive clash between Van den Flair and I think it was Gregory Aldrit there. Pietro Malvaca, first line out throw for the French. Does work out, and Pietro Malvaca now joining back with it. The rolling ball going slowly forward. Maxime Luku gets it across to Galfiku in the midfield. He is nailed in the tackle by Bundyaki. Now Luku, McCarthy rushing up to make the early tackle on Aldrit, trying to suffocate this French attack and make them kick, and that is exactly what they're going to do. Maxime Luku now sends it back to the sky in Marseille. Nicely taken by James Lowe. I want to see how they're going to do for fly half without Elton. Exactly what they've been doing. They've got Pollard, they've got Lebock, they've got Damien Valimza, and then in the future they've got a couple of those younger guys in South Africa. So I think they'll be completely fine. To be honest, they'll actually probably be better off without Elton Yankees, because all that man is one controversy away from getting himself kicked out of the team anyway. We said that when it was the nutritionist scenario, and now he's banned for 4 years because he did, unfortunately, not stay out of trouble. Now line out for the French again. 35 metres from their own line. This game's hit a little bit of a stalemate while both sides try and find that next big attacking run. Oh, okay, they've just said Galtier has actually won all of his home games in France, aside from the Stade Francais, or the Stade de France. So pretty much just everything apart from in the World Cup quarterfinals. And also I think there was another game previous to that was there as well. Would there be a call to like a half world champions as in Northern and Southern Hemisphere comps? I don't think so. I think that we're almost in that scenario with the Six Nations to a certain extent. There were talks about doing a Club Rugby World Cup at some point. Big kick downfield has actually stopped in the in-goal area of the French. So a decent kick in the end from the Irish, and they have now made about 30 metres from James Lowe. That's what Ruth says as well. Says, cool story, bro. And let's go, people. Hit that like button. Says Ruth. Yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are back for all of the Six Nations fixtures. So if you do want to help support the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button like I mentioned. 2 games tomorrow that we are covering. England versus Italy, as well as the other matchup between Wales and Scotland. We're about to find out if Paul Valimza is off the field for the rest of this game. Okay, it's going to remain as a yellow card because there was a little bit of dipping from Andrew Porter. We haven't seen Andrew Porter come back out onto the field yet, though. So Valimza just with 2 minutes 45 seconds remaining now of his yellow card. Nicely taken by Joe McCarthy. Goes back across to Jameson Gibson Park. Now one more on the outside. Bundyaki, big shot in the midfield. Coming on Crowley. But he did manage to get his pass away just. Henshaw. Short ball to Bundyaki. Inside ball to Gibson Park. And the Irish will score the first try of the Six Nations competition. And they just carved this French defence open. That will be concerning for Galtier and his French defence. Elton was a good Lions player. Says, cool story, bro. Go Ireland from South Africa. Says Nkosi there, but the try has been scored by the Irish. And Gibson Park. It's nice work from James Lowe. Good attacking run, but it was Bundyaki who got the short pass away to Crowley. He was smashed by Jonathan Dante. But then Henshaw, short ball to Aki, inside ball to Gibson Park, and then Pinot just ran out of extra options in the defensive side of things. That is because Ramos was lured in to make the tackle on Bundyaki. So now, ladies and gentlemen, the Irish, they will have a 10-point lead. And there's one great Kiwi try that, says Tony. Alton was bad, maybe good at club, but trash at international, maybe too focused on silly hairstyle, says Marco there. And it's a try from a Welsh supporter, says Eunice. Of course, Wales have got their Six Nations contest coming up in the near future. They will be going head-to-head with Scotland at the Principality. There's a lot on the line in that contest. Very early game of the Six Nations, you need to get yourself the win, and that is exactly what Ireland are aiming to do. They have had 17 and a half minutes of not quite dominance, but it's been close to it. They have been having more possession, more territory, more opportunities. Nicely taken by Tyburn inside of the 22. Lineout's better in Ireland. Look the better side by Miles, says Dennis. Exactly right. They just look more well-oiled, as if they have actually played some international games already. Good kick behind from James Lowe, but it is regathered now from Thomas Ramos near the back. And does put the up and under, and it's going to be claimed again by James Lowe. Back across to the right-hand side to Dan Shannon. We are prepared for Scotland, says Eunice. As Africa only hit the Lions at one point. Says cool story, bro. Now Gibson Park back into the pocket will be Crowley. Looks to get a few extra meters on that kick. Already 18 minutes through this fixture. Now Ramos runs it back straight to Galfiku. Tried to go for the grubber in behind, but Ireland were ready for it. And now the banana kick from Crowley. Doesn't quite find the touchline. Over the top, Gibson Park receives it inside of the 22. And now James Lowe again with that massive boot. Goes out just outside of the French 22. And it is a very underrated part of the Irish game is how much distance James Lowe can get on those kicks. It'll be good to see how Wales grow after losing so many key players. Hopefully we got the depth. Says Mr. Fantastic AJ, and Cop's got to run later. Says Fluffy, so we will see you later on. And Ush Old School, cool. Keanu Healy running about. Yeah, he did come on after only about 8 minutes or so due to the head knock of Andrew Porter. Oh, okay, Andrew Porter is actually now back, ladies and gentlemen. So that is good news for the Irish, the fact that they are not playing this game without one of their key props. And why are everyone running off Wales this year? I think it's just because of the players that they're missing. Like they're missing Jack Morgan. They're missing Liam Williams, missing Dan Bigger. Tyke Burns just charged the ball down for the Irish. They're missing Lewis Rees-Zammit, just to name a few. Nice backline mover, Bundyaki. Oh, it was the short ball. The Crowley. What's Crowley not happy about? He's saying it was a deliberate knockdown, I think. They're trying to say maybe there was a deliberate knockdown. I think it was just that Bundyaki dropped that ball. We're going to see somewhere along the lines here. It is just a knock-on. South Africa respect Wales. Says cool story, bro. And Scotland always weak and pathetic in Cardiff. Says power bite. Yeah, they haven't beaten the Welsh in Cardiff. I can't even remember what the stat is. It's been so long, though. So far, we've seen France 47 tackles made, just missing the 2. So the defence has been strong. Ireland actually missing 5 tackles from just the 16 that they have had to make. But the good news for them is the French have been nowhere near attacking enough to create problems for this Irish defence, which is what France need. Definitely going into the second half. A lot more points on the board. So that they can make it a bit closer, but it will be the scrum feed now. Looks like it is actually going to be an Irish scrum feed, so there must have been a little hand on it from a French player. Are you most welcome to Cardiff? I've not even seen the lineup yet. Six Nations crept up on me this year. Says Mr. Fantastic AJ. And then all of a sudden we got Super Rugby starting in like 2 weeks' time as well. So all the international competitions and club competitions coming back very soon. The Champions Cup. We've got a while till that starts back up. So we're going to see the URC. Going down in the front row, Andrew Porter and Yui Antonio. Just not quite getting it right. Wait, you will see it. Says Eunice. 21 minutes through, another scrum reset. We haven't had a huge amount of scrums throughout this contest as of yet. And Welsh are a force to be reckoned with, says Ruth. Ireland, they have got two men positioned directly behind their scrum. It's Jack Crowley, as well as, I believe, Hugo Keenan is there as well. But now they go to the short side. Now Jack Crowley almost going right through himself. He's only 2 metres out from the try line. Almost a knock on there from Gibson Park, but the referee says play on. Josh Van Flair driving his legs. He will almost be over the try line there. No, he's held up. It's going to be the goal line dropout now. Are they at Basolo? As lock cover, man, he's pretty short for a lock, says Marco Vanapola. And Crusaders to cruise to victory, says Chris. Of course, they're going to be playing off against Munster tomorrow night, New Zealand time. Or will be tomorrow morning, in fact. And against South Africa, France or Wales are a force. Says cool story, bro. Now goal line dropout for the French. And Ireland versus South Africa can't wait. Says Smoking RSA every day. Jalabert. Now has to kick it deep towards the halfway line. Run from Caelan Doris again, but Gregory Alrit, he wasn't able to go for that ball as his hands were down first. Now the penalty goes the way of Ireland, who are already 10 points ahead. I think they kick for the corner. I think Crowley wants the corner. Omani's having a think about it. They're taking on the shot. They want to get to a 13-point lead. Looks like James Ryan is already getting a massage here. And also Wales have been amazing to watch the past 20 years. From that first Grand Slam in 05, which broke the drought. It's been a pleasure to watch them grow, says Mr. Fantastic AJ. Yeah, Jack Crowley, brilliant attacking run. Just getting held up for Josh Van Flair. A few too many French hands under the ball. He was very close to being able to drive all the way to the try line. 35 metres out. Crowley now has got the kick at the post. The French have probably seen those pictures of Galtier naked on the nudist beach. It's put them off, says Fleshin. Something just doesn't seem right with France and the way they've been playing at the moment. And I think that's also not so much that France are playing badly. I think the credit, Crowley's missed it. He wanted the corner. Omani said, let's go for the post. And Crowley said, okay, I'll miss it for you then. But yeah, I feel like we need to also give a lot of credit to how Ireland are approaching this game. They've been attacking and they've been pushing France further and further back inside of their own area till the pressure has burst, and then that try did come for Jameson Gibson Park. It's just me. France didn't even play well away from Paris. Says Dennis, they're actually under Galtier. They're undefeated away from Paris. So yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because, I mean, they still win all their games away from home or away from Paris, but they just, at the moment, haven't looked too sharp. Knock on there from Joe McCarthy, an unforced error there. 3 missed chances for Ireland, says Jimbo. I want Scotland to win overall. And France aren't up for this at all. Understandable, I guess, says Stephen. I want to see so bad, so badly want to see South Africa versus Ireland this year at Kings Park, says Chris. Only 25 minutes through in this matchup, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. The first international fixture for these two sides since the quarterfinal of the Rugby World Cup 2023 competition. From Scotland, that's why I want them to win overall, says Axolotl Army. Now Maxime Luku. 25 minutes has passed in this first opening game of the Six Nations. Can't use ITVX and Islands are forced here, says Joshua. And it is a shame that it isn't free to wear in all of the Six Nations countries. Luku gets the offload away now to Jalabert. A lot of pressure being put on, and that's going back for the original penalty in favour of France. Damien Pinot, I don't think he's touched the ball enough yet in this half. It was actually a penalty for the scrum wheeling. I've said just a little bit scrappy at the moment between these two sides. This time France will take on the shot at the post, so this would bring up their first points of the Six Nations competition, if it goes over, that is. It's not an easy kick. Probably about 47 metres out. Crowley should have come on for Sexton. Last 20 minutes of the quarterfinal. Says Hanoi. Any Irish fans coming to South Africa, says Chris. I think a few would be making the trip for that match. At the end of the day, there's going to be an insane atmosphere for that contest. The only side to beat the Springboks throughout their World Cup success was Ireland. They were able to beat them in the group stage. So I feel like there's a little bit of unfinished business there between the two sides. South Africans want to see if it was a fluke. Irish want to see if it was just a thing that's going to happen more and more now. South Africa playing Ireland and New Zealand, and South Africa is going to be the most epic rugby games this year, says Mokin RSA. Every day that kick is successful for the French now. Does make the score 3 points to 10 in favour of the Irish still. Good answer, says Cool Story Bro. And also Google it. He's trying to suppress them because he was with his mistress only in France, says Fleshin. And Irish fans love to travel, to be fair. They're renowned to be best of visiting competitive fan bases regardless of the sports that draw them. I got a football players one in my class and a great rugby kid, and I mostly play football, but I have a family that loves rugby. So there's actually a lot of eye on me there. Of course, Scotland going to be playing up against the Welsh. And Italy, England, the other game that is happening this weekend for the Six Nations. We are covering both of them on the channel, ladies and gents. So if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. For France, currently have this ball 10 metres out from their own try line with a Maxime Luku. Now that ball will go into touch. Nicely done. It's probably about as much distance as he could have on that kick. And definitely some good tests this year to look ahead to. Says Hanoi. Some big ones have been announced. New Zealand, of course, going to be playing both of these sides in the November tour. 10th of November, they'll be going head-to-head with the Irish. 17th, going head-to-head with Wales. England, Wales, Scotland, Italy are useless. It's a shame for the Six Nations, says Stephen Duffett. I mean, the thing that makes the Six Nations the Six Nations, though, fun fact, it's in the title, is the Six Nations in it. You know, so you got to have the other teams, or else it's the two nations, and that won't take very long to complete. If it was just these two sides, it'd be one game, and then the competition's over. That's not good for rugby. And Italy to beat England for the first upset this year, says Mokin RSA every day. Now only 15 metres out again, the Irish. Tadhg short ball there to Caelan Doris. Ty Furlong has to play halfback, pops it up to Tadhg once more. Big tackled in by Pietro Molvaka. Rugby 10s in Asia. Decade ago, had 5 Irish teammates. The banter will be immense, says Chris. It's a shame England are so poor, says Stephen. I know you are probably one of the more bigger advocates of England playing badly. I know you were the same throughout the Rugby World Cup as well. Tadhg cuts through like a knife through butter, and that will be another try now for Ireland. Between the sticks, just a short, flat pass. I'll be honest, that is how, I guess you could say, poor this French defence was, because that shouldn't have been a gap that was so open. And I was just talking about something else because I was looking at it going, nah, France will defend for a few more phases. But Caelan Doris, great run forward from him. And then it's just Crowley with a flat ball. Tadhg goes straight through. And it's an easy try for the Irish, who now sits 17 points to 3 up in this contest. Hello, lad, says Peter Egg. Welcome in, mate. And Ireland are rolling, says Mr. Fantastic AJ. And easy way, too easy, game over. How many more? What do those Irish have for lunch? Not the same thing as Elton Yankees, but the kick is 0 over. 17 points to 3. Think Rassi will be experimenting in the Rugby Championship. depending on who is available. But he will probably try his best to have the best available side against Ireland, June and July. Says Dante, it's a shame to see France playing this badly. They aren't really up for this, says Steven. And I'll be honest, like, it's really weird to see France struggle like this because their Rugby World Cup campaign, they didn't have many games at all. I believe the only game they conceded 2 tries in was actually their match up against Uruguay. And then also, of course, that quarter-final. But Ireland are on the verge of scoring 3 tries within the first half. And French are asleep, goshness, says Marco. And also, this will help their World Cup pain. Can say they beat New Zealand, Box, and France, says Hanoi. And anyone know where I can watch this for free? So depending on what country you are in, depends on the option. Hasn't the game started yet? Says Kruger Mills. They are currently 31 minutes through. But France, they have not really found their next gear throughout this contest. Hope Marks will be fit for the Irish tour. And also there is Shannon Edwards. Back to Old Brightly soon, says Eric there. And I love the way Ireland attacks. Will it be enough for the Box defence? This is the last time they played each other. Oh, hang on, we got a TMO involved again. Paul Valimza again might be in trouble. Well, I mean, if he doesn't learn the first time, if he does it again, boot him off. And France quite often don't give 100% in this tournament. And good to be back here. Hamish says, Eric, welcome in, mate. And red card maybe, and yellow. If it's a yellow card, he's got a red anyway. Because this will be his second yellow card. Okay, it's unfortunate because he was ducking down from being tackled. If the tackle hadn't been made, Paul Valimza would have struck him in the chest. But it meets the yellow card threshold. Paul Valimza's getting a red card. It goes from bad to worse for the French. Can you tell Fuff and David Spade apart? Just. David Spade's got a bit more of a beard. And shoulder to throat. Gonna be a yellow card. Paul Valimza red carded in the first match of the Six Nations discipline. Such an important part of the game. And unfortunately, Paul Valimza, he didn't learn the first time. So, second time meant that he goes off. And I do feel slightly bad for him in that regard because, like I mentioned, if we had seen a little bit less of a dip, because we did see the dip from the player being tackled, a typical South African player. Says Barry Powell, what Kiwis are playing. Says Octo Dad, depends on what you consider a Kiwi. Because, of course, people say James Lowe, Jameson Gibson Park, but, of course, they now play for Ireland, so they are Irish. And idiots will never play for France again after that performance. And he's bringing that South African style, says Hanoi there. I spoke too soon. But it's just not smart at the moment, unfortunately, from Paul Valimza. If you've already got a yellow card, you do not want to take the risk. And I think the best way of describing what has happened for France throughout this first half, pardon my French, would be Kushima. Sounds Japanese, but it is French, and that translates to nightmare. And that is what it has been. A diabolical first 32 minutes. Schoolboy era. Exactly right. And well, if they don't play the game fair, what do you expect? Can't blame the ref now. Says Dennis and French fries. Not going well for them. Stupid mistakes. Says Ruth. And Ireland will be Grand Slam champions, says Mokanaro say every day. And I did predict that they would win this contest. Now, I predicted a close game. I said 25 points to 22. Ireland might have 25 points by the end of this first half if they continue the way that they're going. But currently the line out here for the French. Across to the right, skip pass. Out wide to Francois Cruz. And now they are one down. Here France having to play with 14 men on the park. And he was lucky with the first yellow card, to be honest. Says Barry Powell, and the Springboks' secret plan is to do the opposite of what France is doing. Says Gary, I think everyone's secret, well, it's not even a secret, everyone's plan is to not play like France are playing currently because they haven't done too much right throughout this first 33 minutes. Serubai First carry, I believe, for him, but the penalty does now go the way of the French. More points to get for Ireland before half-time, says Stade Cunningham. And maybe France had too many players on the pitch, says Gus. And I said Ireland 35, France 28, says Spoken RSA every day. France needs some ball in hand. They are also close, not offering much in attack. Yeah, the likes of Damien Penaud, I've hardly seen him. Mo Fana, he's made one tackle. I think that's the only time we've seen Mo Fana, really. We need to see him get the ball a little bit more, but it's just very good from Ireland to be able to just shut down this French attack. The French might snatch an unlikely victory. Says Anoye, it would certainly be an impressive comeback if they were able to do so. But now on the 22, nicely claimed for France, and now the rolling maul will start. I believe Andrew Porter has gone through the middle there, so he's just asking the question to the referee, am I allowed to take that ball? Was okay, but he has been moved out of it now. Ball is available on the ground for France. Maxime Luku goes across the Galfiku. Now cuts his way back towards the touchline. Interesting running choice. I think that's to try and open up a bit more space on the left-hand side. That's a player off his feet for France. And, oh, they're very lucky. Okay, he's tripped over the Irish player, which is why he was off his feet, so the penalty does go the way of France. I was worried about this match beforehand, as our record in France is not good. Says Barry and send an SOS out to Dupont. Come back, brother. France are kicking for the corner. They do know now that they have to attack as much as physically possible. Eldrick gets tested in his capacity as captain. Currently, it looks like he might have got a bit of an eye poke or something in the eyeball. I know it might be contact lens. Now France, 5 metres out, we get to see their rolling maul in action. We just saw it, but it didn't really march too far. Now the chance to bring themselves back into the contest. That's slapped away by the Irish. And now Dan Sheehan has got the ball in hand. Tyke Byrne not only is winning lineouts for his side, but he is defending them when France have the throw. Back into the pocket to James Lowe with that massive left boot. Gets it down towards the halfway line. Brilliant kick from him. And it means now France have another line out, this time a lot further out from the try line. Is this France's longest passage with the ball? Almost, yeah. I think the most phases they've put together is about 4. And then normally on that 4 phases actually when we've seen Ireland giving away a penalty, which tells you if France can have the ball just a little bit more, they might end up in the scenario, oh, it's going to be the knock-on. But Carl Dixon, they are saying knock-on there at line-out time. Just saying there, Jonathan Dante, that try of Tyke Byrne, he was sold completely the wrong way. And what are the forwards for France doing? Not much in this game. Says ref, if only Ireland had a line-out like this at the Royal Cup, probably would have won it. And most important, the pizza is ready, says Eric. And we might need that lad Dupont to save French rugby, says Dennis. But at Marseille, the crowd is still singing loud. They expect a big second half from the home side, but yeah, the first half has left a lot to be desired, and of course they will be playing the rest of this contest with only the 14 men on the field. Our game plan is to run the legs of that huge French pack. Says Barry. I mean, another scrum reset. The Irish fans are still singing though, in attendance as well. And thanks, Dennis. Yeah, looks like Ramos might need some help. The Irish won the World Cup during the pool stages, didn't they? Says Marco, but so far metres made 350 by the Irish compared to the 138 metres we have seen made by the French. So that is a drastic difference between the two sides, unfortunately. And Ireland playing up the middle. Perfect plan versus France. And it's gone down in the front rows. This time Ireland giving away the penalty at scrum time. Ball game, perhaps the Six Nations should be disbanded. Says Stephen, I think you're just too negative, Stephen. To be honest, I remember you during the World Cup. But I don't think they'll be disbanding anytime soon. I can tell you that right now. Huge thunderstorm rumbling outside in Cape Town. Says Ruth. Now kicking this one for the touchline, France. Ireland have done all the hard work throughout the first 37 minutes. They cannot afford to concede now, as that will give France half a slither of hope going into the second half. Another opportunity now for France with the line out, about 15 metres out from the line. This time it is claimed by France. Sirobai gets it across to Maxime Luku. Now Jonathan Dante. Going to be a tackle, so Ireland do have to release, and they are working hard in the breakdowns. Crawley is passing like Johnny Sixpants, says Eric. Yeah, his passing game has been very strong, and that is the benefit for Ireland. Another advantage here for France, though. Only 7 metres out from the line. Maxime Luku goes to the short side off to Pietro Malvaka, who had his knee down but is continuing to drive forward. This could be huge for France. Having some momentum going into the sheds, needs points to give it a real chance. Now Maxime Luku gets it across to the left-hand side to Gregory Aldred, 5 metres out from the line. McCarthy looking for the turnover, will not be able to get it. Still playing under penalty advantage. Fiku tackled by his opposite number. And Robbie Henshaw, Jalibert, short ball, Ramos gets it off to Pinot. Brilliant tackle made by Hugo Keenan. Now the ball's loose and they'll go back for another penalty in favour of the French. Here you go, a horse of a man, says Dennis. And Irish are slicing through French defence like hot knife through butter. Says Roof, looks like, Hugo Keenan might have just tore his balls. Or something in the mid-region. I want to say he hasn't ruptured the testicle because, of course, that would be extremely painful. We've seen in the past. Of course, we've seen a player actually have, never mind, we won't go too deep into it, but damn says Hanoi. But yeah, it looks like he was holding right between his legs. He's either been winded badly or it might be groin as well. Groin could be the other option in this scenario. And now France with 1 minute remaining in the half. There's ever a time to score, it is right now, and they will once again be kicking this ball towards the corner. Hugo Keenan will not feel like running. Ball has gone into touch though. 10 metres out from the line. Not quite as much distance on it as France would have liked, but they are still close enough to go for that rolling maul if they do opt for it. A ball to be thrown in. Pietro Malvaka almost stolen again by the Irish, but it's slapped back by France. Maxime Luku does claim, and it's going to be a knock-on advantage again. In fact, I think it's a penalty advantage for playing the man's arm. In this case, now Dan Sheehan, another penalty, goes the way of the French. Pietro Malvaka takes the quick dab, gallops towards the try line like he's a horse. Now 1 metre out from the line, trying to pick and go there. I think it was Gregory Aldred. Ball's still there. Maxime Luku will go across now to Rui Antonio. This is the chance that Le Bleu need. Jalibert, short ball to Pinot. And they will score just before halftime. This game is not over yet, ladies and gents. And tries his Barry Power. Good try for France. And when the French get into second gear, they'll score. Omani dominating the French line out, and Hamish looking fabulous. His commentary is superb. Says Ruth. 14 tries for Pinot throughout 2023. First one scored. I heard New Zealand boys coming to Ireland in November. Boy, that's going to be juicy. Says Hawk. And also we have got their France should be too good for Ireland. Depends on if they're up to it. And Wyvern Sky Sports New Zealand contacted you about a gig. I think that they normally look at the past rugby players. Plus, I have no commentary experience. Like, these live streams very different to commentating an actual game. A nice one. Says Hanoi. And good try, France. I think they might have just woken up a bit, says Dennis. Yeah, it's taken them a while, but maybe the 14 men is what they needed to fire up to that next level, because now they find themselves in the predicament. They are sitting 10 points to 17 down at half time. But they are now a lot more in this contest. That kick just snuck in the left-hand upright as well, as you mentioned, for Thomas Ramos. And now at half time, only the 7 points between these two sides. It could have been a lot more. I just see France, of course, down to the 14. We're going to get some stats, ladies and gentlemen, for the Six Nations performance from these two sides. But you'd have to argue wasn't quite the start that the French were after. Ireland, though, looking very good throughout the early stages of the match. So far, metres gained, they've almost doubled the amount of metres that we have seen from the French Tackles made, we're seeing a lot more tackles made by France as well. In terms of the stats, possession in favour of Ireland. Live win probability currently still has the Irish as an 85% chance of going on to win this contest. I've nearly forgotten about this match. What is happening with France? Says Monet Lagrange. They were very slow starting. The first 30 minutes was poor. But from there, they've started firing. And they're looking a little bit better now. Yeah, metres carried 350 for the Irish in this contest compared to the 198 for the French. Defenders beaten 10 at the moment for France compared to 6 for Ireland. So they've actually had more defenders beaten in this match, the home side. And short space, says Ruth. What fantastic stadium that is. Says Eric, hard to listen to that accent. Says Jack John, well, luckily you don't have to if you don't want to. And here's to a second half cracker, says Mark McDonald. Yeah, I feel like maybe, like I said, that's the little moment in the half that France needed to feel like they've got a chance in this contest. Because without that, they would have been going into the second half maybe 14 points down. And that's always going to be a challenge to get up from. But only 7 points difference now between these two sides. Who scored the tries for Ireland and France? So the 2 tries scored by the Irish, the first of which was Jamison Gibson Park. That was in the 15th minute. And just space opened up. Nice offload from Bundyaki. Got it away to Josh Van den Flair. And then the ball on the inside to Jamison Gibson Park to finish the job. The next try was in the 29th minute. That was Tyke Byrne. Just a flat run. Nice pass from Crawley. Scored it between the sticks. And then the last try of the half was 39 minutes into it. And it was Damien Pinot. We have got there, I was the Irish lad kicked in the nuts. Seemed like accidentally on purpose. Well, I know for one thing that it does not feel nice getting kicked there. But I think he might have got a knee while on the ground. Right in the bollocks. And really think even if they had 24 lads on their team, they might be able, or might be able for the Irish tonight. The team all over the shop tonight, says Dennis. Best Rugby Commentary Channel. Would be great to teach the Rugby Itch guy how to do a live commentary. Says Victor, we actually have a podcast, myself and Rugby Itch. I know he's doing the occasional game of the Six Nations. He actually predicted France to win this contest. I predicted Ireland. And it was actually the same for the whole Six Nations. I predicted an Irish win for the Six Nations comp. He predicted France. So we have to wait and see who is correct. In that regard, Squidge looked at the fly halves. He showed Crawley's club game is kick-based. He has taken the challenge then. Says Eric, yeah, he hasn't actually been kicking too often throughout this game, finding some nice attacking runs for the players on his outside, whether that's Bundyaki, or getting that skip pass out wide to either Calvin Nash or Ringrose. Too modest, you could do live because they watch the TV anyway. Says Cool Story Bro. Because the influx of has made the city a dump, right? Says Marco there. And Ramos to come out second half and smash it. Well, that's the thing. We hardly saw Thomas Ramos throughout that first half. And, you know, it's quite surprising that we didn't see Ramos more heavily involved, definitely with the amount of kicking that the Irish were doing. But I think the benefit for Ireland was they were doing the bigger kicks of the half. So it meant that Ramos most of the time had to just try and play the territory game. Ireland win the Six Nations, hope you are right, says Del Tequilo. And who wins this wins the Six Nations game on. I'd love to hear the French halftime team talk, says Rugby Merlin. I think it will be something along the lines of, right, that first 30 minutes was very poor, but at least we scored before the end. And I think that will be something that they definitely look at as a positive for France. The fact that they were down and out and they were playing with 14 men, but they still managed to break through and keep themselves in the contest. Now, of the French players, in terms of men who stepped up, I'd say maybe Pinot, just because he was able to score that try, as well as he had a couple carries. But other than him, we haven't really seen enough of too many of this French side. Francois Cruz, we saw a few runs from him. Why isn't Dupont playing? Because he is playing sevens. He is chasing the Olympic gold medal for the French. We have got Keep Line Out doing well. And with the amount of ball we have, second half will be pretty easy. Toes crossed. Says Dennis and also Sedgley Park. Would hammer these, says Biggie T. And going to be a top-up of gin and orange and some crackers. And Karma Peach is in the chat as well. Welcome in, mate. Hope Switzerland is treating you well. He threw the dummy out the cot after the World Cup. He decided to chase gold at the sevens, says Marco. And yes, Paris is beautiful, says Stephen. I bet the crowd were stunned with a 17 points to 3 scoreline. Yeah, they were quiet, but it seemed to be near the end of the half they realised that they had to be the voice of this French side and try and keep them in the game. Because, yeah, the score wasn't looking too good. 17 points to 3, probably one of the bigger deficits we've seen between these two sides, definitely in France. But these are the benches. These will be the players who have to turn the game around. Now, I have to say for France, Tolfa Cameron Walkie, and Bodian, all very good options for replacements. Julia Malchon, not a bad option for Pietro Molvaca, and also Balabari. So this game is far from over for France. If they use their substitutions in the right way, they could find themselves getting slowly back into the game. But Ireland, they've got a few hidden gems off the bench as well, whether that's going to be Jack Conan, James Ryan as an option for McCarthy eventually. Bielan will bring a bit of physicality. And then also they've got Connor Murray and Frawley as the two back replacements. The 6-2 split for both of these two sides in the Six Nations opener. We have got there, what a game so far. Says Rugby Itch, yes, certainly a close one, but not so close in terms of statistics. Close on paper, though, with France only down by the 7 points now. Okay, I will go and watch the sevens at the Olympics. In that case, says Stephen, well, we are actually going to be covering them on the channel, of course. Michael Hooper, another Union player who has transferred to the 7th circuit for the Australians. His first leg will be in Vancouver, which is at the end of the month. Our Super Rugby format is weird. It should change to a league format, says Smoking RSA every day. I think the only thing that stops them from being in a league format is the fact that they are just running a little bit low on time and they want to have everyone play everyone throughout the competition. A return in the autumn, says Doug Peel Skates, and Crowley should have had them 3 points, says Ronnie Pickering. That reminds me of that meme, or the short video thing. I feel weird saying meme. I know I'm 24, but saying meme just makes me feel old. You know? It's like saying GIF or GIF, depending on what you call it. I just feel like I'm past that stage of sounding cool when I say that. And the Lions Tour, where this channel's next big thing, says cool story, bro. With the red, I think Ireland will take it, says Doug Peel Skates. That is true. Of course, the Paul Willem's a red card, or the 2 yellow cards throughout that first half. Sevens is a tough game. Fitness levels have to be very high, says Stephen. And Dupont, one of the best players I've seen past 20 years. France without him pretty poor, says Dennis. And we have got there, speaks for all of us. Like the stream chat, get Hamish over 50% at least, says Eric. And there as well, and I'm betting France is missing Dupont at the moment. Do you know who I am? Ronnie Pickering. Yeah, it's quite a fun little short video, isn't it? I wonder what Ronnie Pickering's doing now. I'd have no idea. We have got, yeah, guess what will not be surprising? Another New Zealand team winning the Super Rugby, says Mukanara say every day, and Pinot was driven back by the Irish fullback. Did not like it. As he's getting up, he donkey kicked the fullback in the nuts, says Donkey Peel Skates. Oh, that's probably the reason then why Hugo Keenan was down for so long, because a donkey kick to the bollocks would definitely not tickle. It would hurt quite drastically. But the defence in this game, we have seen 74 tackles made by the French, actually making a 93% tackle completion compared to the Irish, who are actually only sitting at an 82% tackle completion. They have missed double the tackles that France have. They have also made the 54, though. Penalties conceded, 7 against the Irish, 5 against France. So it's really confusing at the moment, to be honest. In terms of all the stats say that France should have a decent crack in this game. Ronnie's still driving around like a lunatic asking people, do you know who I am? And once needs some relaxing. So here's a roof. A GILF meme sounds old. So here's cool story, bro, there. The second half of this Six Nations fixture, not too far away from taking place, ladies and gentlemen. But if you are new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Do let me know your score prediction as well for the full-time whistle of this contest. Currently, Ireland ahead by 3, scoring the 2 tries of Jamison Gibson Park as well as Ty Byrne. So Leinster and also Ty Byrne for Munster having a bit of an impact and at that first half. Also, for the French, they got their last-minute try of Damien Penaud. And the TMO will flag it before the second half if he did. That stuff sucks in any sport, says Mr. Fantastic AJ, and thank you for your Kiwis, Hamish. They're coming in very handy, says Joseph, and there as well. I'm wondering who's going to be the guy in the second half who really steps up. Like Bundyaki throughout that first half is not too bad at all, I would say. He's got a couple decent runs and also a kind of assist to an assist. Did I hear you correctly? Did someone get a red card? They did. So Paul Valimza got 2 yellow cards added up to the red. But since then, France have actually looked better after he went off the field. And Mr. says Sheed, welcome in. Or me, says Sheed, for who is going to step up in the second half. And 35-27 to the boys in green, says Eric. I think Italy will beat England tomorrow. And they will never have a better chance. How many games Willems are going to miss? Probably just the one, I would say. Mainly because they were both yellow cards rather than a red card. So, yeah, I think he'll just... Well, he might not even miss the one. He might be back next week for the French. For anyone wondering who the upcoming games are for these two sides, for the French, they have got themselves a game up against Scotland. That is at 3:15 a.m. New Zealand time on the Sunday morning. So that'll actually be an afternoon game for you guys in Ireland or France, wherever you are in the Northern Hemisphere. And then for the Irish, they have got their game up against the Italians. That is going to be the Monday morning New Zealand time or Sunday 3 p.m. in the afternoon for you guys in Ireland. And yeah, it'll be an interesting one to see how that goes. Then they've got the 2-week break before they come back for the match up against the Welsh. Another week off. Then their game up against the English, finishing out their competition up against the Scottish for this one. Also next week, for anyone wondering about the 3 games, Ireland versus Italy, of course, the Monday game. 2 games taking place on the Sunday for us here in New Zealand, or Saturday for you guys in the Northern Hemisphere and South Africa. Scotland versus France, and that is going to be at Murrayfield, and then England versus Wales taking place at Twickenham. We have got there, you were born when I had a Dreamcast, I feel old. Who's the referee of this match? It is Carl Dixon for this contest, and France kept Doris very quiet. Yeah, that is true. Caelan Doris not getting a huge amount of the ball. Same with Josh Van den Flair to a certain extent. I know that he's been working hard in the breakdowns. We've got there making tea. Anyone want a cuppa? No sugar, Dennis? Says, what's there from Steve? And also French second row, 2 yellows for head hits. Says Doug Peel Skates. And yeah, 2 yellows for the exact same man. So I would assume more than likely any more that end up falling or end up in a similar position will probably get another yellow card. Did you guys enjoy the Six Nations out New Zealand then? I do. I know that for myself, I watch all the Six Nations games. We actually commentate all the Six Nations fixtures. There won't be too many Kiwis, I wouldn't think, getting up at 3 a.m. tomorrow night to watch Italy versus England or any of those games, but we will be, and we will be commentating it on the channel as well. And England versus Wales for the wooden spoon, says Stephen. And what do you think of the rest so far, Hamish, says Dennis? I think he's been relatively good throughout this match. Seems to have quite good control of the game so far, keeping a close eye on the breakdowns. It'd be a great start if Ireland got a yellow or a red to level the field, says Mr. Fantastic AJ. Yeah, that could change the game drastically. Also, depending on who that player would be to receive that card. Although I'd like to think after the Irish have seen what it's done for France, that they wouldn't want that yellow card or a red card, because that was when Ireland started taking more momentum. And good on you, says Nigel. But yeah, I wish more people in New Zealand would get up and watch these games. Like, this one's a good one, to be honest, in terms of time zones for us here in New Zealand. It's a 9 a.m. start, so it's not too bad. I actually just showed what's happening next week. Like, Six Nations-wise, 3:15 a.m. New Zealand time, 5:45 New Zealand time, 4 a.m. New Zealand time. I can guarantee you that maybe 3% of rugby fans in New Zealand might be watching those games. And a few people probably would just watch England versus Wales, seeing as it's the later game. Maybe they'll get up at 6:30, watch the second half. But yeah, not too many people doing the hours that we are at the moment. Just cuties. Has got a trophy there, and Ireland back to world number 1. And do you think France can come back in this match? I feel like they've got a decent chance here. If they start well for the first 10 minutes, they could get close. I am still picking Ireland to win this contest, though. My original prediction was 25 points to 22. I feel like that is still more than doable in terms of the scoreboard. And Eric Aldrich just dominating him. No changes yet. Jack Conan on the bench. Says Jimbo, didn't Carl Dixon give 2 yellows to Scott Barrett in the warm-up match against the Springboks? He certainly did. And Timmy quite breathtaking so far. Says Ruth. And there as well. Right. Oh, there we go. Okay, Paul Willem's second yellow card has actually been upgraded to a red card, not because it's a second yellow. So more than likely he will have about a 3-match ban for Paul Willem's now. So that is not what they need. Definitely not because they've got a young 4 out there on the field. Kia ora, Hamish from Brisbane. I have a note from Mum for being late to the stream. Up the Blues at Super Rugby, says James Martin. No worries at all. We will have to get that message from your mum at some point, I'm sure. And Ireland's line-out seems to be going very well, considering the problems they had in the quarterfinal last year. Says Rugby Merlin. That one is going to be kicked in a touch by Ireland. Early on in the second half, they want to shut down that French momentum that was being created early on in late on in the second half. British Irish Lions 2025 will be a walkover. Says Rozifwa. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how Joe Schmidt changes the Wallabies, of course. One moment, I'm about to sneeze. I'll mute myself. We are good. And does France have a red card? They certainly do, yep. Paul Willem's 2 yellows, but then it got upgraded to a red for his second one, so more than likely we'll face some sort of ban for 3 or so weeks, maybe even 5. Now it's going to be the advantage for France at the rolling maul. Giving away a cheap penalty there, Joe McCarthy. And 4 a.m. here in Malaysia, says Kelvin. Also a little bit of a rough time. 4 a.m. here in Cambodia, says Giddy Giddy. And thank you, says Salah, no worries at all. And in England, we tend to do sport for all rather than focus on elite sport. That explains why England can't compete at the highest level. Says Stephen, we'll believe you. I think no matter what, at the moment, you just don't like England rugby. I think that's clear to see, isn't it? I see Ireland being winners, but I can't predict England. They are the unknowns, but great players will blow the skeptics out the park for Six Nations, in my opinion. Says Nigel. Yeah, that's the thing. England, a little bit similar to Wales. They've got so many new players getting the opportunity here, and it's a good thing. In some regards, it's just the fact that maybe it will hurt them a bit for the overall competition. Maybe they won't be as strong as they want to be early on, but the early 3 points in the second half looks like the French are going to take it on. 46 metres out for Thomas Ramos here, and he's missed it. It's a rear miss. Where was the contact on the second yellow? So it was head contact, but I thought the player was slightly dipping down, which is why I thought it may remain at a yellow. But no, they did actually upgrade it to the red. I actually thought his first contact was worse, to be honest. What does the Japan team like that Chiefs are playing next week, says Octo Dad. I think they're actually playing them tomorrow, aren't they? For the Chiefs, if I'm correct. But a lot of those overseas top 14 teams do have quite a few internationals playing for them, of course. 908 in Ireland, says C-Stack Media. And I think England need Martin Johnson to come out of retirement, says Ruth. But nice work from France early on in the second half to be inside of the territory of the Irish. That is something that they really did throughout the first half of this fixture. When's the draw for the World Cup? Do England get another easy draw? Couldn't tell you. I think it's going to be in a few years' time, because last time they admitted that they did the draw far too early. So they'll probably wait a bit longer this time. Now settled by, good tackle on in by Andrew Porter and the Irish, and he'll win the penalty. Porter. His cards are rubbish in rugby, says Peter Mason. And open Kuala Lumpur. Or Luma. You're in Pompey, Giddy, says Kelvin. And greetings from Cayman. Quite enjoying this game, says Yvonne. Now the Irish win the penalty just inside of their own half, so they will be able to kick this ball towards the touchline again. That one's curled quite nicely. About 25 metres out now, they will have another Ireland line out available. Dan Sheehan's been doing very well with the line out accuracy. But yeah, the Blues are playing the Sunwolves. Oh no, the Chiefs. Chiefs play the Saitama Wild Knights tomorrow night. So they've got Marika Koromberi, Dylan Riley, Damien Dialendi. They've got Lachlan Boshier, Ludiacha. A lot of good players in that lineup. So it'll be quite cool. See them go head-to-head. Now step there from Omani. Good work in the breakdown from Mofana, but doesn't win the turnover. Hey, Hamish says, Stuart, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. Bundy, Aki, big crash run forward for the Irish. 20 metres out from the line. Now Crowley goes across to Henshaw. Tackled high from Jonathan Dante. He always looks for those turnovers in the breakdown, but he wasn't able to get one once more here. I think Silverby might have got a bit of friendly fire on the ground from his own teammate. How everyone been a while, says Pads Blaze. Welcome in, mate. You are keeping well. Good point, Hamish. The draw setup was dumb. We've got two of the best games ever. Says Eric. Now another big run forward from James Lowe. 7 metres out from the line. Gibson Park. Looking to shift this one to the left-hand side. Hugo Keenan. One more. Out to Robbie Henshaw. He goes himself, Henshaw. Rather than finding that next pass. But he gets it away now out wide. Calvin Nash will score. He is celebrating. Big time there. You're doing a great job, buddy. Says Zifwa. And also Andrew Porter is the best Irish and Leinster player, says John Frawley. Managed to get the initial turnover that created the attacking chance here for the Irish. And now they will be on the board once more. Brilliant work from Joe McCarthy, but also brilliant work from Robbie Henshaw to find the offload to Doris, who had the wherewithal to be able to get that pass out wide to Nash with the space opening up. I've heard Wales made 12 changes to their starting lineup. I'm hoping that's not disrespecting the opposition. I think that's just because they do have so many new players in their side. They don't have Jack Morgan, so that was always going to be a change. They don't have Dan Bigger, another change. Liam Williams, another change. Lewis Rees-Sammet, another change. That's 4 off the bat. Just listing the 4 obvious guys. Plus there'll be a few others who aren't available. In your head, France, here we go. Says Dennis and Andy Farrell with the inspiring halftime speech. Says Mr. Fantastic AJ and USA, says Squirrel Man. Now Jack Crowley to line this kick up from the touchline. And he has got it. Now my prediction for this game was 25-22 in favour of the Irish. I don't see that happening now, mainly because they can't score 1 point. So 24-21 would be tricky to get to as well, actually. So I think I'm going to be wrong is the best way of describing it. The weather here really sucks. So here's Pads ablaze. And Cape Town is like another planet. Seriously, introspection whenever I'm there. Nicely taken, though, by Tyke Byrne inside of the 22 for the Irish. So they are able to kick this ball out if they want to. But for now, they are just setting up, getting a few more phases inland so that they can get a better angle for the clearing kick. And come on, you boys in green, says Mark McDonald. And Ireland will hammer France, says John Frawley. And Wales have had to make those changes. North had to pull out, says Flesh in there. Oh, that's a big hit too, because he had the experience in that back line, didn't he? So now to lose him as well, I think Wales, they come in as slight underdogs in that game, and maybe that's why. Our strong wind gusts up to 90 k's and shower with heavy rain falls. Says Pedza. And also Wales have had to... Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? Now Pietro Malvaca throws the ball in for the French. Claimed by Maxime Lucu, who's tackled by his opposite number, Gibson Park. Already has 1 try to his name, and Shahid has said, I'm so late. It is all right, better late than never. And we've got 2 more Six Nations games tomorrow as well that we are covering. England versus Italy, of course, and then Wales versus Scotland. The Cape Town Flats are not somewhere I want to spend any time, says Stephen. And also Koi Big, says Adam, nice short ball. Yui Antonio. Settle by, going back across to the right-hand side. Now Galfiku. Looking to shift this one to the left-hand side for France. They need an answer back for this Irish attack, who have already got 3 tries. They are 1 away from a bonus point in this opening contest. Now Galfiku, another short ball away to Gregory Eldred, trying to strip that ball with Peter O'Mahony. Counter-ruck there from the Irish, winning the physicality battle, but they offload it back. Gibson Park has to clean it up. France were almost all over it. Stephen Y says, Marco, I think you'll find, Marco, Stephen, it takes a lot to make Stephen happy, as we're learning from the chat. And Coming Ireland says, John, and Koi Big says Adam there. Now being rolled back by Crowley. He was going to play halfback. Cape Town is beautiful. It is unfortunately very dangerous. Such a shame, says Stephen. And Coming Ireland, my cousin is 10 for Ireland, says Connor. So yeah, Jack Crowley doing decently throughout this game so far. Hasn't missed too many opportunities. That's an Irish penalty, although the hands were down for Caelan Doris. So I'm wondering whether or not there was something else that happened in the breakdown beforehand that warranted the penalty. We will see a replay here. So Galfiku goes up for it. Did Crowley get taken, or did he take him in the air? This could get ugly for France. Yeah, Salah. I think he is my cousin. See, it's Crowley's same last name, so it must be close, right? Ashwin Valimza is from the flats, and also Ireland is beating France at this moment. There'll be a different story against the Springboks in South Africa. Says Morné Lagrange. Will Tuolangi make his debut soon? It probably will, because now that Valimza has got that red card, more than likely he'll have about 3 weeks off, and that will open up a door for another opportunity for someone else. Oh, hang on. Ireland did have the penalty, but they have gone back for that initial takeout in the air on a French player, which now means that France win the penalty. Ireland can win the under-20s versus France, says John. And also we all would love to see Pinot create another wonderful try. Is he coming off the wing much? Not a huge amount, although saying that Ireland have just shut down this French attack, so we haven't really seen a lot of anyone in this French backline, but this is a good chance for them now. Just inside of the 22. We want to see big Pasolo, says Marco Vinopol, and Dickinson is losing in with the noise. Or it was more the assistant referee actually told him that he should change his decision in that case. Now Pietro Malwaka has the ball, the rolling ball working, but Omani was able to shut it down single-handedly, almost pushed him into touch, but it's still available. And France used Mofana for one of the first times in this contest. Serobai now charging forward with Galfiku. Now Luku, that'll be penalty for player not rolling away, I believe, in the breakdown. It's a shame River went to Cape Town for work. Breathtaking scenery, but I never felt safe. Says Stephen. And also we have got there John Frawley. Ireland lost to France in the Under-20 World Cup final about 6 months ago. Says Giddy, but kicking by the corner now. 5 metres out from the try line. This is the chance that France need. But it was a knock-on, not interference on the halfway, says Mark. So yeah, they did initially see a knock-on from Jack Crowley, and then they looked at the way he pulled down Galfiku, and they said that it should be overruled to become a penalty for the French. They've been trying to cut down on the amount of players being taken out in the air, to be fair to the referees, but now rolling towards line. Ireland defend it, but they drag it down 2 metres out from the line. This could be a yellow card against the Irish. And all of a sudden, this game will change. Galfiku now only just out from the try line. Ball available. Looks like Olivier will go short side. 1 metre out now. Who will be the French player who steps up and gets the try? He's thrown the ball at the line. Double, or in fact triple blow of the whistle here from the referee. I think this is going to be a yellow card. Perhaps even a penalty try in favour of the French now. Oh, okay. The TMO will be involved, but the touch judge, I believe that's Jordan Way, has said that he has seen a grounding. I haven't heard Omani's name once. Says Eric, to be fair, he did get a strip of the ball just a little bit ago. I think I mentioned him. And this game's heading up. Says Hanoi. I probably called him the captain instead, maybe, rather than Omani, though. Right. What are we going to see here, ladies and gents? Jordan Way thinks that there was a grounding. So they're going to check. to see if there was a try. They're saying Peter O'Mahony may be going to the bin for 10 minutes for dragging that one down. Fair play to the French, not going down without a fight. Says Mr. Fantastic AJ. Yeah, they easily... Oh, yeah, we're seeing this one getting dragged down. Okay, that was the TMO tonight. They're not doing too badly, although he's actually complaining about the director at the moment. The TMO, he's saying this is not what they actually want to look at. They want to see the later one to see if there was a grounding. 6 Nations is rigged, same as the World Cup. Says Crumpus, and Irish players drove O'Mahony into the ground. Says Jimbo. Oh, I think that's ball on the line. Gabrielak. Did he get this ball down with a hand on it? It looks like from that angle, it's not the easiest one to see. They need clear evidence to override the on-field decision. I think that that's probably going to be a try for Gabrielix. And it's a try. Says JP, looks like a try to me, says Stephen. And is it Ben Whitehouse? I think it is. And how much sleep you take, says Coding. I managed like 6 hours, which wasn't too bad. Try, says Annoy. Oh, but that does come free from his hand. But unfortunately, Jamison Gibson Park's hand is something that we can't actually see through in this scenario. Because if we could, we'd know whether or not that ball has been lost at the exact moment. Dixon called try, says Gus. Or it was actually his touch judge who called try. So Dixon agreed. And that Joe Schmidt discipline from years ago has made us the least carded team for over a decade, says Ryan Murray. And Strips, says Steve. And give it replacements on soon, says Eric. Time is off at the moment. Okay. He hasn't got any overwhelming evidence to say that it's not a try, so it will remain as an on-field try, and the French come back again. Whereas Stan says Krampus. And what are they looking at, says Annoy? Oh, and it's a yellow card for Ireland. That is big. Because for a start, it seemed like it wasn't going to be the yellow card. It seemed like it was just checking to see the grounding. But Carl Dixon had already made up his mind that the Irish were going to the bin. I believe in this case it was maybe Peter O'Mahony has been taken off the field now. And it's back to 14 versus 14. What a surprise, says Krampus there. Peter O'Mahony, he will be off the field for the next 10 minutes. South Africa versus New Zealand are too far away to attack each other. Says Skill Story Brian Average called it, says Eric Davison, and also what a kick, says Steve there, keeping us in suspense with the TMO, says Nigel. Yeah, they're just getting us on the edge of our seat. And it's Pasolo, says Marco there. He has now made his way onto the field. And that kick has gone over. And that is a brilliant kick indeed. Yeah, Tuolangi now getting his French debut. That's a change lately in refereeing. As if the attacking team scored, often the infringements leading up will be ignored, says Annoy. And did you hear Tony Brown joining the Springboks coaching staff? I did not, but that's an interesting choice for them. An amazing kick, says Mr. Fantastic AJ. Right, there is I almost said an 8 point, but a 7 points difference between these two teams now. Ireland, they have still got themselves the lead, but they need to keep their foot on the gas. It is 14 v 14. I didn't take Krampus long to go to the sin bin. Says Gareth, did you time him out, Gareth? He seemed like he was being relatively friendly today. There will be a knock on from the Irish. 26 minutes remaining in this game. It's a burb kick, says Steve. And how did Ireland not win that World Cup, my God, says Kevin. Just goes up for the catch there. Calvin Nash, unfortunately, did end up dropping it. I think Thomas Ramos. Probably a little bit happy that he didn't end up in the scenario of knocking on. Let's go, Posso, says Hanoi. And let's go, the Blues, says Calvin. And Krampus is fake. But Julio Marchand also making his way onto the field here for the French. That is to replace Cyril Bailly. Oh no, Rita Wardy replacing Cyril Bailly. Yui Antonio also coming off. So the whole change in the front row and big push there from the French works out. It's for Pito Malvaka, the replacement. We've got there the people of Cape Town are friendly. I couldn't get over the deserted housing estates. No one walking dogs, no kids playing. Very strange. Says Stephen and not me. I'll be watching in the background quietly. Says Gareth. Now, like they're saying, a bit of belief is coming for the French here. Could a 24-24 draw be on the cards, ladies and gentlemen? We're on holiday and can't watch the game. Bro, we found your commentary, says Nigel, and we will be back for the 2 games tomorrow, as well as all the remaining Six Nations fixtures. So, yeah, if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's greatly appreciated. Guys, being here, whereabouts are you on holiday, Nigel? Out of curiosity. You may have said right at the start, but I can't quite remember where it was. Game on now, guys, says D. Our ball's going to be thrown in by Julio Marchand for the French. Going in, though, the Irish managed to get the turnover at line-out time from Tyke Byrne. Now Crowley crossed to Bundy Archie, who is still playing with no number on his back. This commentary out, Kiwi lads. Says it was Marco. Now rolling this one back, it will be Jamison Gibson Park without Peter O'Mahony. So they'll try and use some physicality in the breakdown for the French. That one's gone into touch on the full from Gibson Park. Mistakes that we aren't used to seeing for the Irish. Definitely not in that first 40 minutes, are now starting to sneak in. Gran Canaria, says Nigel. So hopefully the weather is nice for yourself. And thanks for the commentary, bruv. Out in the US and at an Irish pub, not showing this match, says Meat Shield Gaming. So welcome in as well, mate. You are enjoying, I assume, your evening in the USA. Is it like, it's like 4 a.m. in the US, isn't it? Meat Shield, if I'm correct. And Paddy's Pub is showing the game. Says, cool story, bro. Now nice pass on the outside. France in position again. James Lowe makes a big tackle. Almost gets a call to Zamul. Yes, he does. Now it's gone down. If the ball doesn't come out, it will be the Irish scrum. And it is brilliant work from James Lowe. But an individual brilliance. Managing to shut that ball down. Hugging on to it for dear life. And 4 p.m. or 1 p.m. US based on which coast? Oh, okay, so it's an afternoon one rather than middle of the night. And 1:30 p.m. in Cali, says Meat Shield Gaming, and the Welsh winger is off to play American football. Says Stephen, of course you are talking about Lewis Rees-Zammit. Chance for him. And the NFL will be interesting to see how he goes. But fair play to him for, I guess, chasing what his passion is. He said that it's what he always wanted to do. So he's going to give it a crack. It will either go very well or very badly. We might see him back for Wales in 2 years' time. And Lo the man picked up Edsabeth, says Hanoi. Now big scrum feed for the Irish. Front row angling here on this near side, so they will need a reset. The more time that Ireland can use up of this yellow card, the better. Still 5 minutes remaining of the Omani yellow. Time is flying by very quickly in the second half, ladies and gentlemen. And like I said, we will be back for the next Six Nations fixture, that being England versus Italy. It is going to be tomorrow morning New Zealand time. But for you guys in the Northern Hemisphere, that will be a 2:15 p.m. kickoff in the afternoon on Saturday. For us in New Zealand, it is 3:15 a.m. on Sunday, and then followed closely by Wales versus Scotland, which will be straight after. Now another free kick going the way of the Irish. They are also still chasing that bonus point, I should mention. One more try will give them the extra point, which could be massively beneficial as they move forward throughout this competition. Last year, having 27 points in total. Who do you support a New Zealand local side? Says Barbara. I actually, believe it or not, I am pretty much impartial for the New Zealand teams, only because we've covered so much rugby, but plus location-wise in New Zealand, I'm almost on the border of 2 regions in terms of teams. I'm halfway in between the Crusaders and the Highlanders location-wise, so it makes it a little bit easier to be impartial. Our pre-season Super Rugby trials today, I think there are 4 matches taking place. We're going to get to see Suntory Goliath taking on the Blues in 5 hours' time. Nice backline movement here for the Irish. Going to be shut down though. Bundyaki has to regain the ball after dropping it. Did go backwards though. So they are now 40 metres out from the line. Ireland still on attack. They've had more possession than France during this yellow card period. But France actually have scored more tries with 14 men on the field. That will be an advantage. Taking the man off the ball. Gibson Park. Another penalty could be against. Taking the man off the ball. Dan Sheehan. Tackled by the big man Tuolangi. Now Crowley. Across the Tyke Burn. Quick hands from Ireland. Brilliant tackle from Jalabert to stop the offload of Doris, which could have easily led to another chance for the Irish. Now out wide, Ringrose. No, in fact, sorry, it's Robbie Henshaw. That used to see in Ringrose in that 13 jersey. Now a big run from McCarthy over the ball to Alangi. Had his hands on it, but doesn't get a Crowley good attack and run, but he's been nailed in the shot there. 10 metres. Henshaw gets within 5. France cannot get the turnover. And Ireland just going phase after phase after phase currently. Looking for the counter-ruck, and they'll go back for the original penalty there. England play tomorrow. I might just go and cut the grass. Says Sifwa. As we all know this, a try levels the game. The tension, how will they do it? Says Eric. Hamish supports the blue Crulander Canes. Maybe. Although where are the Chiefs in that equation? Gareth. And Peter O'Mahony is a dirty player. He deserves a yellow card. Says Morne Lagrange. And now Ireland will only be 4 metres out from the French line. This is yet again another chance for Ireland. How is Andy Farrell looking? We haven't actually seen him as of yet. I don't think they've shown him on the camera, but I'm sure he's feeling nervous at the moment because at the end of the day, the Irish, they aren't away yet, but if they score one more try, they get the bonus point, which is exactly what they'll be after. And this Rolly Moore will help them do it. Sheehan off the back gets the try. Bonus point for the Irish while playing 14. My mate is out New Zealand is a 100% Waikato team. Does exchange of rugby players with Cornwall who live and love rugby. Says Barbara, but it is the 4th try. Andy Farrell now, he didn't even smile, but he'll be happy enough on the inside that they've walked away with another try here, Ireland. The bonus points, so they are walking away from this game with at least, I would say, 2 points here, if not the full 5. We have got the South Africa World Champions. Should have been Ireland against you guys, says Wayne. And also we have got their massive hello from Germany, says Ryan. Welcome in, mate. And get on, son, says Barry. And there's one, yes, says Barbara. And sorry, slept on the Chiefs, says Gareth. Now, 17 and a half minutes remaining. As a Kiwi, South Africa are the most overrated, says Relaxing Noob. I mean, they at least have 2 World Cup trophies to back it up in recent times. And this game is rigged according to Krampus. And also we have got the little boys game, says Enkies and RJK, says Relaxing Noob. And what a conversion. Says Stag Media. And lining up this kick, it is going to be Jack Crowley. And he has got the kick over once more. And that also takes away all of the time off the yellow card of Peter O'Mahony. So he will be back out on the field. Ireland will have the man advantage for the final 17 minutes of this contest. If Ireland Rugby both have sidestepping, so both are great. Says cool story, bro. France, they'll be disappointed with this performance. They fought back into it. Galtier, he wouldn't have been happy with the first half. The last 5 minutes of that half, though, France did look like the stronger side. Unfortunately, that's when it stopped. So Cameron Walkie now making his way onto the field, same with Bodian. And Krampus make a channel and provide evidence. Don't flood the chat with nonsense. So here's Mr. Fantastic AJ. As had the same Crowley who played for New Zealand. 2022 looks different. I believe different Crowley. I think, yeah, because I think Crowley's been at Leinster for a while. Oh, or is he? He might be a Munster man, actually. Jack Crowley, sorry. Oh, well, bye rugby. Says Krampus and Prayers are true gentlemen and fantastic players. Oh, a fantastic player. Says Josh. And also, South African Rugby sponsored by EPO and Growth Hormone. Says Barry Power. Although they've been tested multiple times, the Springboks. Elton Yankees, of course, he was out of the testing pool because he wasn't playing for the Springboks, but when he got caught, it was not ideal for him. And Satyrs have Munster Pie tomorrow morning, says Inkies. Run forward from Reda Wardy, his first carry since making his way onto the field. I should also mention that they have made another change here for the French, and that is going to be Le Grec onto the field, as well as Louis Belbary, and he has just dropped the ball there, Belbary. Unfortunately, but 16 minutes remaining. France need 2 converted tries to get back into this contest, and I feel like with the minimum time remaining, it's going to be a bit tricky to get there. Thank God I'm alive to see this great Irish team. A lots more left in these guys, a new crop of younger lads coming along. Rugby looking pretty good in Ireland. Says Dennis, and that is something Ireland have done well over the last maybe 10 years or so, mainly because of that academy. You know, Leinster, I know a lot of people, if you're from another region in Ireland, you don't like Leinster, but their academy system, you got to say, is one of the best around. And they bring a lot of new players into light, which then in future get the opportunity for either the Ireland under-20s or the Six Nations side or, you know, end-of-year fixtures. When it's the Crusaders versus Munster, it is at 6 a.m. tomorrow for us here in New Zealand. Sadly, overlaps with the game between Wales and Scotland, so we won't be able to commentate it, which is a massive shame. Adam said jealous of the Springboks. Probably take the next World Cup too, says Dante. Andy Farrell might be smiling now when Springboks beat Ireland and South Africa. Andy Farrell won't be smiling, and the Rassie Erasmus will be smiling, says Morné Lagrange. Although Andy Farrell at the moment, I'm sure he's still smiling thinking about that World Cup in regards of they were the only side to beat the champions. The only side to beat the Springboks was Ireland. And Ireland are focusing on rugby 100%. And they need to get more talent from Gaelic, which takes heaps of people. And Wayne Barnes, 2023 World Cup champion, South Africans know it. Says Inky. Shame to have the championship game at the start of the competition. Everything else is second best. Says Rosifwa. Yeah, it seems like a shame to have this game, mainly only because this could have been the decider at the end of the competition. Both teams sitting 4 from 4 or something like that, and then the last game to choose who wins it. Who's winning, says Adrian, at the moment. Ireland have got themselves the bonus point with 31 points on the board compared to France with 17, and they are still playing with 14 on the field, France, but currently on the halfway. Ireland, an attack. Gives them back, goes across to Tyke Byrne. Another good tackle, mate. Jorge. It's back in the chat. Welcome in, mate. Now, quick hands from James Lowe. Well picked up by Hugo Keenan. Goes for the grubber in behind, but it does go straight into touch. And now France. Don't get me wrong, they've still got plenty of time left. Sad to see Sexton retire, says James Donnelly. It is, but it also, like, it's kind of cool in a way that Johnny Sexton was able to retire on a high note, because he was still playing some brilliant rugby. And there are so many players who have to almost be forced into retirement due to a bad injury, which they then have to deal with about 9 months after their retirement and sometimes for the rest of their lives. So at least with Johnny Sexton, he was able to go out on his own terms and ended up, you know, leaving the game of rugby in a good place rather than looking at it in a bad way, if that makes sense. We beat you guys in the World Cup. We'll do it again from that lad from South Africa. Says Dennis. Nice work from Belbary to keep the ball in the field of play for the French, who are now on attack 40 metres out from the Irish line. And half a chance here to try and get back into the contest. Ligarek gets the pass out wide cutout pass once more, this time from Galfiku. Damien Pinot, though, has knocked the ball on. Look backwards to me. And exactly how it says Barry Power. And boom, there go the Irish. We have got there, New Zealand didn't score a single try in the finals. Who takes the blame for that? Says Dante. And also well said about Johnny Sexton. And Sexton went out on a high like he deserves, says Barbara. 12 minutes remaining in this contest. You've got Ireland beat South Africa the last 3 times. We owned Ireland 1. Says Morné Lagrange. And well said about Johnny Sexton, says Ryan. But yeah, like, yes, it's going to leave a big gap for the Irish. But to be honest, Crowley's already starting to fill that gap pretty well. And the fact that Crowley, I think he's only 24. I'm just going to have a quick look. Yeah, 24 years of age. He's got such a bright future ahead of him if he keeps that 10 jersey. My mouth guard's yellow. So here's Warren. Now Conan. Did he knock that ball on off the back of the scrum? Referee says no. We've got their top 16. South Africa, New Zealand, Ireland, France, Canada, and England. Which sport we talking, relaxing noob? Is there a guy called Frawley who also plays here? There is Kieran Frawley. He's actually off the bench. He can play in the centres as well, though. But yeah, they've got Frawley, Crowley, and then probably Carberry is another option that they could look at as an Irish 10, or Byrne, perhaps, in the future. A ball available on the halfway line again for France. Short pass to Cameron Walkie. Breaks through one key, and nearly actually getting his leg stuck underneath that breakdown. Looked a bit awkward for him, but he has got back to his feet. Nice break and run from Damien Penaud. Passes on the outside, well regathered from Bodian, who's just tried to break straight over the top of Hugo Keenan. This is France's chance to get back into it. Ramos going across to the left, trying to pierce through his Chalabert. Gets his offload away. Ramos, no, he's gone for the kick in behind. Not the choice there. And now Jameson gives him back. He's driven into touch, I believe. I think his head's almost touching the line. No, he's just in the field of play there. And Ireland retain the ball again. Bad choice from Ramos, going with the kicking game rather than just passing it through the hands. Anyways, thanks for you doing a fantastic job. Says Roof, I should mention anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are doing the 2 games of the Six Nations tomorrow as well. So yeah, if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Do you talk to Rugby Itch lately? We have actually done a recent podcast talking about the Six Nations and our preview for this round. I did predict Ireland to win by 3. I said 25 points to 22. Doesn't seem like it's going to be the case though, only because France haven't stepped up and Ireland certainly have throughout this game. And Ireland says Abigail, and Ireland should try to get past the quarterfinal. You are no England. Says, good story, bro. It was a good attack and play from France. The line break coming for Damien Penaud. But it was just that next pass that didn't quite work out. Ireland for the win. Says Abigail. Tony Brown's an honorary South African after playing for South African clubs. And guys, let's try to get to 100 likes. Only 6 more. Let's smash it. We have 397. So hit that like button, says Pads and Blaze. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and also hit that like button. We're almost at the 100 like Paddy said. 9 minutes remaining in this contest, and Ireland have still got themselves the bonus point. Now, if France manage to score themselves a try here and convert, they will be within the 7 points. They will get the bonus point. Now, this is impressive. Ruck speed for Ireland. 58% of their rucks come out within 1 to 3 seconds. They've got the fastest ruck speed in World Rugby at international level. And it's just so quick and precise. It's a thing of beauty to watch. Looks like Reda Ori has some sort of injury, maybe a broken arm here. And Ireland, France, Scotland, then the rest. Says Rizifwa. And also, I remember him making debut in New Zealand. I thought he was Crowley. But it's a different person. Says Hanoi. And also, where's the sound of music from the French crowd? I think they lost heart. I think, honestly, they didn't expect this game to be as challenging as it has been. And, oh, big run. There we go. That's the big man, Tuolangi. His first run in international rugby. Big run from Cameron Walkie. Tackle slightly high from Finlay Belham. There's going to be play on. Settle by 40 metres out from Ireland's line. France can score a converted try now. They would be in the scenario of not being completely out of this contest. We've got to remember they're also playing with the 14 men on the field, missing Paul Valimza. Looking for the turnover. Tyke Byrne does not get it now to the short side. Gregory Eldrit, man who hasn't had anywhere near enough carries. Still going forward here. Half chance for a turnover, but Ireland do not get it. Who was that man up the top side? Number 20. Oh, it's Ryan Beard. I was trying to work out who it was. He looked unfamiliar. That is going to be another drop ball from the French. This time a knock on. I'm interested in this game, but your dedication to sports is to the next level. No sleep at all. Says Neutrino. Tell you what, tomorrow's going to be tough because we are doing 2 live streams throughout the night. And then I believe we've got about maybe 14 hours of streaming during the day. Or maybe not 14, maybe 12 hours. So, yeah, it's going to be a rough time. And France expected to win easily, perhaps the wrong mindset. Says Stephen and Big Pelosso running it straight. Says Marco there, they're just showing Crowley got dropped when trying to make the tackle on him. Okay, everyone, good night, Amish, thanks. See you at the Crusaders game tomorrow, yay? Says Roof, although we will be covering, of course, the 2 Six Nations fixtures tomorrow on the channel. And England 3 times finalists and winners of the World Cup. Put my money on them over any Ireland team in the World Cup. Says, what's there from Cool Story, bro? A little bit of a huddle going on at the moment for these 2 sides. While we have a bit of injury time. 7.5 minutes away from Ireland pulling off a historic victory in the Galtier era. He has never lost a game aside from the Stade de France. Undefeated, I think it's 8 games from 8 that the French have won under Galtier away from the Stade de France. Handling errors, 7 from the French have hurt them drastically. Only the 2 errors being made by the Irish. When it comes to the handling, penalty counts a little bit high for both of these sides. At least England host lol. Says Mr. Fantastic AJ. Now scrum feed. Favour of the Irish again. Robbie Henshaw, he's done pretty well at number 13, I felt, throughout this contest. Mainly because with Ringrose gone, it looked like there was going to be a big gap to fill. Similar to the Crowley situation with no Johnny Sexton. But I think he stepped up in exactly the way that he needed to at 13 and has supported Bundyaki in that midfield quite well, who, to be honest, probably hasn't been the pick of the Irish backline. It's rare that we say that, but James Lowe's first half was sensational. We've also seen Crowley really step up for the Irish at 10, so I would almost be edging towards giving him the man of the match. And this matchup, Gibson Park also doing extremely well. Referee has been taken down, the Irish making 2 tackles at once, one on the French, one on the Carl Dixon. 40 metres out from the line, France are again on attack, and Ireland haven't had as much possession throughout the second half. We've seen a lot more work from France going in. Short ball to Pelosso. Again, just drives over the top, but the Irish get the turnover. Going for the grubber in behind. It's actually going to be Jack Conan here. Going for the kick. It's curling and just kicked into touch by France with Jalabert, which does mean now Ireland have got themselves the attacking line out inside of French territory. We have got their RTE Virgin Media. I believe it's on RTE, if I'm correct, for watching this one. We have the alright, I'm off. Have a good night or day, everyone. Cheers to the stream. MVC's Pants and Blaze. No worries at all, mate. Thank you very much for tuning in. It is great to see you once more, and I'm sure we'll see you a bit more in the future as well. Yes, 4 tries and a bonus point. Come on, Ireland, says Delta Kilo. Yeah, now looking for their 5th try in this contest. And like I mentioned, France have had a majority of the attack in the last 15 minutes or so, but Ireland only need one good phase play to get them over the try line. Conor Murray going off to Ronan Kelleher. Now across to will be Jack Conan again. One of the Irish players, I think that was Ronan Kelleher, just doing backwards roly-poly, showing off to the crowd at Marseille. That's going to be the cross kick, and well taken by Ligaric. Now has to kick it himself from inside of its 22, both hunting from the World Cup shocker. Will they make up for that though? Or will them make up for that though? Says Peter, and you're doing a fantastic job pronouncing those French names. Says James, I'll be honest, some of them are not very easy at all. But luckily some of them almost sound like they're supposed to. Tackle made out wide by Babari. That one I butchered. Babari, I should say. Now Bundyaki, short ball. Again, it will be Tyke Byrne, although he has lost his scrum cap. Doesn't make him as recognisable. Doris having a bit of a push and shove there with Bodie in, the 2 loose forwards going at it. Only been to Ireland once. Jerry Adams sat in front of me. Says Stephen, and England versus Italy. Wooden spoon decided nice and early. Says Delta Kilo, and we are, of course, going to be covering that game on the channel alongside Wales versus Scotland. Kicked him behind there from Crowley, just going for a bit of territory. They are already deep inside of the French half. Great clearing kick from France. Crowley was back to cover. He has been everywhere And yes, Spoof with the best Laird Amish. Says Barry Power. And Ireland Dream On. You wish we'll see you June at Loftus. Can't wait. We'll teach you a rugby lesson, says Kuz. Well, the Springboks, of course, they will be hoping for the victory over Ireland, seeing as they've lost to them the last 3 times that the two sides have played. So, yeah, the Boks have to look for that redemption because, they've been beating everyone else. But Ireland seem to be their bogey team at the moment. And Crowley should practice drop goals now. Says Hanoi and Loftus well. Would love to watch a rugby game there. Jerry Adams was in charge of the IRA. Says Stephen. Looks like Crowley, after another penalty is awarded to the Irish. They are going to be kicking it for the corner once more, going for it. And another South African on the crack pipe even tonight. It's very power, but harsh. You're right, Crowley plays for Munster. Unfortunate for him. Says Delta Kilo. Yeah, they're just saying, in that case, I'm not actually sure what that penalty was for. I think late shot, but it wasn't that late. I don't believe. Oh, Joe McCarthy gets Six Nations Player of the Match. Doing very well throughout this game. I love your objectivity against all the comments here. Fair dinkum, says Barbara. Try for Ireland, says C-Stack. Yeah, they're 5 metres out at the moment, so I would assume that they have got a try in them very, very soon here. Ronan Kelleher driving forward well. Another try for the Irish. Gets the ball down. McCarthy on a Six Nations debut, says Jimbo there. And Ireland has certainly stepped up. Yeah, and like they've said, a statement win here. And well done to the Irish. A great opening game, says Eric. And Ireland's beaten Bok in the last 2 matches, says Given there. Also try time, says Jimbo in the chat. As well, McCarthy is a beast to be fair. And well, great performance, says Hanoi. Yeah, and I mean, if this doesn't already put Ireland as firm favourites, go back-to-back with Grand Slams, I don't know what would. That photo will be memed. Says Mr. Fantastic AJ. McCarthy is a beast to be fair. And I just being chummy, says Barbara and Johnny Sexton. Not quite Johnny Sexton, no, Ronan Kelleher, but still Irish. And Ireland says Junior. And a lad takes France handy, great result. And we have to be favourites for the Grand Slam now. And Carl Dixon reminiscing about those Irish summers with his Irish grandparents. Says Jaron, will the French take anything from this game? I think they'll learn quite a bit. For one, they need to be a lot better when it comes to the breakdowns. I don't think we've seen the counter-ruck enough from the French. Another thing is their defence. It's been extremely strong throughout this game. Hardly missed tackles, but it's been the gaps that have created. Not from missed tackles. Oops, I just slammed the keyboard there accidentally. But yeah, not from the missed tackles, but just more from the lack of people in the right position. And yes, great day for the Irish. Unfortunate about the red cards, but a win is a win, says Steve. And high score versus France ever, and perfect start for the lads in green. Says Catherine, and thanks, buddy, for the entertainment. A great job, says Rolifwa. Thank you very much for being here. And like I said, we will be back for the 2 games tomorrow that are taking place, ladies and gents. The first being England versus Italy. The second match being the one between Wales and Scotland. Peter said drop ball. And I'll say thanks for the great commentary from Oman, says Edward. So thank you very much for tuning in. Still 40 seconds remaining. I have a feeling Ireland don't look like they're done yet. They may want to increase that points differential just that little bit more. The penalty goes to France, though. Now, France can't actually get anything out of scoring again other than cutting down on points differential. And they're going to be marched back 10, the Irish, for swearing at the referee. Back-to-back for the seniors. The under-20s going for 3 in a row. Grand Slams is unreal for Irish rugby. Says Barry Powers, and thanks for the commentary, says Ta. And this is a bit of a hammering. Says Brian, but they have gone for the kick towards the corner. What is your prediction for England versus Italy tomorrow? I believe my prediction was 38 points to 13 in favour of England. And that's not just because, of course, the Irish have 38 points here. But yeah, I predicted around that 38-13 mark, or 38-15 it may have been. Great for getting a try, being held up against New Zealand quarterfinal. Says Mark, but there's going to be a knock-on from Cameron Waki, or is it? The ball's going to be stuck in the line-out, or the maul anyway. Ireland get it back. They kick the ball into touch. and they will win the opening game in emphatic fashion, 38 points to 17 in favour of the Irish. I'm South African, but I promise we'll teach Ireland how to play rugby. You'll wish for a pause in South Africa. There is no pause, sorry, my friend. Says Kus. And I was at any team lost 2 games and won the Six Nations. If they have, it's been quite some time since it's occurred. Men versus boys, poor French team, wooden spoon, is just a few games away. And twice Irish have been penalised for mouthing off. Says annoying, great win, grand slam on the cards again. And still one of the best in the modern day rugby. You are a legend, mate. Says the big setting. And good job, says C-Stack Media in there for good job towards the Irish. Bring back to point. He's currently about to play sevens. But I'm sure that a few French supporters will definitely want him and Roman Intermac back as soon as physically possible. This could be a great away win. Says Del Tequila. I'll be honest, I predicted Ireland to win by 3. If anyone before this game, like if I had said in a preview, right, Ireland, I think, are going to win this game by 21 points, people would have called me delusional. Me backing them by 3 points, I was called a little bit delusional, but they just looked like a very tough side to beat. They have the advantage, I felt, in the forwards and the backs for this matchup. Really appreciate the stream tonight. Take care, guys. Says a Mr. Fantastic AJ. And Ireland have beaten South African World Cup. Says Petty, they certainly have. Clear win to Ireland. Good night of rugby. And thank you very much. Really enjoyed. Pint and a pasty for you if you come to Cornwall. Says Barbara. And there as well. But nonetheless, we've got the 2 games tomorrow, ladies and gents, that are taking place. They will be between England and Italy, and the other game, Wales, taking on the Scottish. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And we will see you all for the next one.